We should do like the hero landing where you're like down on a knee, and then like you get
Yes.
up, flex.
Absolutely.
And if this is the boys, we murder people, right?
Yep.
If it's like anything else, we save people.
Mhm.
But you have to do the hero landing. So hey, folks, High Shelf Gaming tonight. We're going to be doing some Agon. This is our Saturday night game until we get through some constellations, learning how
Yeah.
the end game process works.
There's a
Gotta get through
chance for one tonight.
There's a chance.
Might make
All right.
it there. Yeah.
All right.
Depends on what you do. Remember our signs of the gods.
Right. We gotta do that. And hey, it's Phaedros. Phaedros is leading tonight, right? Because Phaedros
Oh,
won.
nice. Yeah. That means we have a
What did
nice
Phaedros
level head with many
win
ways.
last time?
What was
I
that?
think it was a race. It was a race between the two ships. So
Oh, the ships.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I guess that's a good chance to hop in. Unless David, you have more announcements.
You know what? I was just gonna let everybody know that this Monday is gonna be Shadowrun, run by Katrina, which is gonna be dope. And then Wednesday we're gonna be doing the Brindlewood Bay, run by Mike. So this is like all the GMs are here, except for Casey, I guess, who just ran Mass Effect, our second episode last night. And I want to mention that on the 27th, I'm going to try and mention this every time we go live. On the 27th, we're going to host a How to Cyberpunk campaign as part of GaryCon, which is the convention in memory of Gary Gygax. They allowed us to put together a panel. We're going to have Artel Sorian, the Con Save, John the Wise, Wandering DM, and Two Brothers Gaming. All of us talking about running Cyberpunk. So it's going to be really fun, and we're going to do that on the 27th midday. I want to say it'll be like 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern is our time slot. So it'll be playing here on this Twitch channel, but it'll also be listed up in their stuff for people to tune into and watch.
Nice.
So we're really excited about that. I love talking to all those folks. So like to get to talk to all of them at once is going to be maybe too much. Maybe it's going to be too good. I don't know. We'll find out.
Which is just gonna melt.
Yeah, I
That's
just
one way
might.
to
I
find out.
just might. I don't know if I'm going to make it. So, yeah, it'll just be good. I think those are my immediate announcements. Anything else that we need to be talking about that I've forgotten?
OD&D on the 2nd.
OD&D on the 2nd. Yeah, we finally got that kind of scheduled. So April 2nd, we're going to finish up our original D&D game. Rich put together a dungeon, thought, oh, this is a one shot. There's not a one shot when players
Never
are
a
killing
one-shot.
players, and we are walling each other off with bad guys.
When you say we, you mean you.
I didn't directly kill any players. Okay, I wasn't part of the PvP. I was just reading the room, seeing how it's all gonna go.
And close that room off.
What was I gonna
As-
do? Go in there, pull him away? No, I would die.
Yeah, that was an interesting realization that David's cleric is more like the televangelist that can't fly, on a regular airline because it's filled with demons.
I tried to,
so many rings.
with his
so many
with his
rings.
many rings and his
Yeah,
and his,
and
and
the-
his glorious title.
The armor hidden under the robe. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
Totally.
I'm gonna put in some hints that he's maybe not quite so pious.
Yeah. An oath of poverty, he says with
Can't
many,
touch
many
this
rings.
dirty door.
More rings than the Patriots at that point.
So I gotta say that next time. Oh, thank you, Ethan. All right,
I don't
so
know why I pulled a football reference out.
Yeah,
of it. What is
that's
going
wild
on?
for
That's-
you, dude.
Look, I know things.
yeah,
I know you know things.
I
You-
know
you have
things about
talents.
football. I
Yeah.
have
you know that they're a
knowledge.
team.
I have
and
a
they've
knowledge
won.
of many things.
Awesome. So, Ethan, I'm going to turn it over to you. Get us into the world of
Alright.
Agon as we
Yeah.
are adrift on the waters.
Yeah, we have your heading now. You have
Okay,
you have a direction that you're going. You don't know where it's going to lead you to, but you have a direction because there's this nice little like path of stardust that kind of lights up whenever you do nice things for the gods. But yeah, last time we took a little time to kind of just explore that voyage phase, and kind of go into that, dive into that in a little more detail. Found out some really cool stuff about our heroes. Got some fleshing out of their character and things like that. Got lots of stars, lots of constellations. None full yet, but we have a few that are close. And then also we got. Oh wait, people are in the wrong spot. I didn't even notice.
Oh, whoops.
Heather, you moved.
I'm Makaria.
It's okay. Yeah, we got it fixed. We got it fixed.
Can't do nothing.
That's all good.
You moved it very softly. So yeah, but Zoom, guys, it moves things. But yeah, and then we got Shadowwise Xenon, a nice new little epithet and smooth things over with Artemis.
Yeah.
She's still a little mad, but she's not more mad, and that's like the
That's
best
what
you can hope for.
I wanted her less mad, and I wanted to say I'm sorry. So I think that happened.
He did, but yeah. And so now we have, we had a race because you all claimed another ship. The ship of Thessakyra, the Pirate Queen, the Raven's Feast. So you raced those, and it turned out that all that time at sea and all that nautical knowledge is worth something because we have Phaedros as the leader, and that, you just can't beat the know-how.
Right.
I think we all thought he was going to win that one.
Yeah. But he did, and so Phaedros is now in charge of interpreting the signs of the gods for this next island. I think let's go ahead and jump into. I'm interested to see, this island could be really short, or it could be really long. I'm interested to see kind of how you guys interact with it.
Do we know if it's short? Does that mean we're doing well?
Yeah. If it's short, that means you did well. It means you just did all the things, right? And everything went fine. If it takes a long time, then you're either doing a lot of exploration, which is also doing things well, or things have gone horribly wrong and you got to fix them. So, we'll find out. We'll find out. But yeah, let's jump in. So, you all have been sailing for some time through the night, following this path of stardust that leads you on your way. And soon the mists recede once again. And you see in the distance an island start to come into view. And as you get closer, this sort of like pit of unease starts to build in all of your stomachs, because when you see a new island, you want it to look a certain way, right? You want it to have like maybe a city on it. There's probably a mountain of some sort, because just the way these islands are formed. You want to see a harbor. You want to see things like that. You don't see that here. Instead, you see that there is just this jagged, towering pile of volcanic rock that just rises from the sea. And you can see that it is just choked in ash and fire, as well as just this collection of dark storm clouds where the summit of the island is almost constantly being struck by lightning. And we'll get to who's responsible for that in a sec. We all know. You can see that on the sides of the mountain, there are these rusting metal hulks of strange creations that, they have all of these gears and pipes that are, expelling steam. And they all kind of have this glow about them in this orange light of the sort of lava flows that traveled down the slopes of this volcano. And while you all probably wouldn't be especially familiar with this island, we will come to know it as Spera. And it is... it's an interesting one. We'll get into it. But as you all are arriving, two signs of the gods are revealed to you this time. The first of these comes to you from Hephaestus, which I believe this is probably one of the first times we've come across Hephaestus in this campaign. The god of crafting. And you can see that on this beach, as you approach, there is a sailor that is attempting to repair a ship that looks a bit worse for wear. It has these like metal, they look like metal arrows that are kind of just sticking out of it. It's almost like a pincushion. There's like a pile of these things where the sailor has been pulling them out and then sort of trying to repair his ship. But as he's doing this, you can see that the hammer that he's using just sort of slips out of his hand. It's a very like it's almost like an accident. But this hammer falls and perfectly crushes an effigy in honor of Zeus that was laying by the sailor's feet. And so to say that in a more succinct manner, now that we've said it, is while repairing a ship, a sailor's hammer slips from their hand, shattering a clay effigy of Zeus. So that is our sign from Hephaestus, is that Hephaestus's hammer maybe doesn't get along with Zeus all the time. You know, that's one way to think about it. Might mean something else. Who knows? And then the second sign that you can see is the peaks of Spera are silhouetted sort of like almost constantly by these strikes of lightning, a shower of thunderbolts from the sky that are just bombarding the peaks of this island. I mean, you know that to be, of course, a sign from Zeus. You know, maybe who knows what Zeus. Well, we'll leave that up to Phaedros. What that one means, who could imagine how Zeus could feel about this island? But as you are taking all of this in, you don't have much time to do so, as you hear sort of a whistling sound, and it kind of catches you off guard. And then you hear a thunk, and then another, and then more and more, and then you start to hear, you know, sailors crying out as these metal arrows, but they're long, perhaps almost like spears. Well, more aptly harpoons, because you can see that there are tethers that connect to the other end, but they start impacting into the deck of the ships, some of them impacting into members of your crew. But these harpoons are assailing your ship, and it's, you know, the sky gets even darker as a cloud of these harpoons start attaching to your ship. You can see that the cables that attach them to whatever it is they've come from are metallic, which is something that you all have probably not seen before, rope made of metal. And you can see as they all pull taut at once, and you look up to see these massive winches embedded in the mountainside that start to pull your ship toward it. Both of them, actually. And you can see as they, we'll say, I don't know, I'll have to flip a coin or something. I don't have any physical dice. Let me just roll one. Roll 20. Let's see. Roll 1d2.
And I'm so sorry. Will you tell me again the name of this island?
Spera. Speira. Okay, we rolled a 1. So, Phaedros' ship is first, or kind of further ahead in this line, and it leaves the water as these winches begin to pull your ship up the mountainside, and you can sort of start seeing now what is being pulled toward. It is a maw of whirling gears that seem like they're about to, you know, turn your ship into toothpicks.
Sir, don't like it.
Yep. So the question here is, will you rally your overwhelmed crew to abandon ship and save their lives before it's too late? Or can you free your vessel from the harpoons before it's utterly destroyed? And then that is up to Phaedros. What does Phaedros decide to do?
You know, Phaedros is staring at his character sheet, as you know you do on deck.
Yep, always.
He sees this big helpful checkbox labeled the Pillar of Storms, and wonders if we just try to channel big ass lightning bolt down that maw, if that'll get it away from us.
Yeah, so that'll help. That'll give you
Also
a
away
if
from
you
it.
check that, that gives you a
Yeah.
D10 in whatever contest we end up in. And so then,
My gut reaction is just to try to break free.
okay,
'Cause
great.
This is the
Alright.
ship, and this is the crew, and we've got the Pillar of Storms is on the ship. We've got all this time and
That's
effort invested in the ship.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, let me.
You're like,
Well,
but it's my ship.
I love that it's
Yeah.
minimized all my windows. Okay, there we go.
We're
Try to
not in the
move-
business of giving up the ship.
Right. Okay, so. Oh, interesting. Why does the strife sheet not have a place to put things in to roll? Do you all see that? No, you don't. Let me try reopening it here. That shouldn't break anything important. Weird. It sure just doesn't have an area to roll anything. Okay.
Normally it does, right?
Normally it does, yes. Maybe this one will have
Do we
it.
need to reload a thing?
Yeah, I might just need to reload the whole 20. So patience.
Is the stream?
How do I do that? How do I? I might just exit and rejoin.
Yep.
Or oh no, I can actually just open it on my other window. Okay. On the one that's not connected to anything. Okay. But you will be facing a contest of blood and valor against the mechanisms, which is what the enemy here is known as. The mechanisms of the island. Okay, yep, nope, I guess that's just done then. Unless, wait a minute. No, okay. I was looking to see if they had added the thing to where you could just like click stuff, but I suppose not. All right. Well, I will roll the old-fashioned way then, I guess. Okay, so the mechanisms. These are. You can see that in addition to this maw, there are these small metallic spiders that move around on this cliff face. But they're kind of helping maintain these machines, so they're also part of the threat. So I think this is just 2d8 perilous, which for everyone who does not know, what that means is if you suffer in this contest, you will have to mark a pathos, as it is a bit dangerous with these clockworks. So we'll roll the 2d8 here. All right, so that is an 8. The strife level of the island is a 5, which is basic. So we have a 13. And this is a contest of blood and
working
valor.
at all?
It's not. Yeah, there's nothing to even like click or type in to do stuff. So
I think I just changed my microphone. Hopefully, am I coming in clearer? I got a note that I wasn't super clear.
I think you sound fine.
Okay.
To me, I don't think anything's changed for me, but maybe.
Okay. Yeah,
Oh, I see that my Streamlabs is frozen.
Oh, whoops.
Like several of us are frozen, which is weird. Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Audio is coming through.
Yeah,
okay.
And I can see Katrina moving, but I can't see anybody else moving.
That's extremely odd.
Which is weird because I
that
normally
must
don't
be
have problems.
that must be these like okay, there we go. Just restart all the cameras. That's just Streamlabs giving me a little treat here.
Yeah. You know what?
Freezing everyone.
We can only go as far as the tools will allow us to go.
That's right.
And we are evermore at their mercy.
That's right. Okay, that is how you add islands. Yeah, I'm really not. I'm very curious as to what's going on in this little strike player sheet.
Yeah. Oh, I can see me moving now. That's good.
Yep. I just restarted all the sources and it fixed.
Awesome.
Okay, so our target number here is at 13. This is a contest of blood and valor. Who will face this challenge to attempt to save your ship? Your ships.
Well, it's blood and valor, so I mean, come on, that's my bread and butter. This is what Hilarion does. Of course,
right.
he's gonna face this battle with blood and valor.
Ropes of
He's
metal.
gotta save his other ship.
Ropes
Gotta
of
save
metal.
his own ship. That's right. That's right.
All the more difficult to break through. Hilarion sees it as a challenge, I imagine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Phaedras will take up this challenge.
I would imagine. Shadow-wise Xenon or Iron-minded Makaria?
I think that Shadowwise Xenon will assist Phaedros
Okay.
in this challenge.
So you'll gain a glory and then give a
with
domain
craft.
die.
Yeah, with craft and reason.
Craft and reason. Okay, great.
With my cleverness.
Is that a
It's a D8 for me.
I'll assist Hilarion with Resolve in Spirit.
All right, perfect. In that case, heroes, test your fate. Let's find out.
What is the die for that?
It's Blood and Valor, target number 13, and it's perilous. So
I meant for the assist.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's a D8.
D8. Okay.
Sweet.
Sorry, I was trying to look for an answer to Ethan's problem. So
Yeah, that's the first time. I thought it was there earlier too, but maybe that's not the case.
if you make a new character sheet, does it?
Well, I used the other one that I had already made. That didn't work. So
Oh no.
let me add a character.
Let's just phone up Sean Nittner. Be like, hey, dude,
Hey, bud. Need some help.
I'm loving this, but
Start
today
to-
the buttons aren't here, and I need the buttons.
Yeah, like they're just
Quick question, Ethan: is it a clearing the cache thing? Sometimes the browser is like hung up on some old thing,
could
and
be.
if you do
I
like
did
a quick,
I did just see something very interesting, and that now is there is a third option other than strife and character. There's now also an island option for a character sheet.
Mm,
Okay, well,
they moved your stuff.
they did. They made a whole new thing. Sweet.
hey, look at, oh no,
No, guys,
No.
what happened? That's never happened to us.
no,
That hasn't happened to us yet.
we're gonna lose a boat.
What
And here we are
happens?
tying again.
One
too.
boat,
We're gonna lose 2 boats.
2 boats. There we go. That's more like it.
No.
Oh,
Okay,
no.
sweet. Cool. I see how this works now. They've moved things around, and I was unaware.
Do you want to re-roll, Ethan, so that we get the proper?
I'm good.
Should we redo all this so we can?
we don't
yeah,
suffer
I mean,
the loss of both of our.
If there was a
ships.
glitch, we don't want to.
Oh well. Okay. Well, we'll find out. We'll find out.
We
what
just got to
happens.
survive till the end, and then we're taking the ship that the guy was trying to fix on the beach. That's,
That's right.
Yes,
that's
that's what we
right.
do.
There is a man on the beach with a broken boat.
So I believe it's time for you all to recite your deeds. Unfortunately, you both have suffered. Make sure you mark pathos as you have suffered. Yeah, recite your deed. What all did you use? Remember to incorporate your epithet if you used it, and your divine favors. You know, your aid, things like that.
So we tied, but I guess I'll go first because that might change what Mike's gonna say is since Phaedras' ship got pulled up first, still out in the water, but my ship is connected to all the things. I say it's my ship. It's whatever. Because I'm
Hilarious
currently
on it. Yeah.
yeah, so Hilarion's there and he sees this and he sees them. They drug Phaedras' ship up on the shore and he sees all this stuff going on and that's bad. That's bad. And he realizes that he knows exactly what he's got to do. He thinks back to, this might be the problem is he tried to use a little craft. I added a pathos and added in some craft and reason.
You're like, hey, let's bring this.
Let's bring this in. And he tried to do that, and he quickly hits the steering mechanism to go hard to one side, thinking that he could like sweep out really quick and run the cables against Phaedros' ship to pop his free and maybe knock Phaedros' free at the same time and do something.
Classic cross the streams Ghostbuster logic. I love it.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Unfortunately, this may be one of those times when the 60-40 percentage on that port starboard thing didn't work out in his favor. We might have swung a little the wrong way and then swung back, and it just wasn't enough to break free.
And you find as you're attempting these maneuvers to try to break free, you could see that these metal cables are getting tangled now. Just sort of further binding your ships together as now also the Raven's Feast has been pulled from the water and begins its trek up the mountain as well. Phaedros.
Yes, so being up in front on what is now named the Rogue Wave, because I don't know.
Perfect.
I like how
the problem is you gave it a name.
You gave it a name
that's
moments before it got harpooned. You named it.
You named it
as
it was. Yeah, as it was in danger of being destroyed, you have named it.
Just when it is time to
it's almost enough to make me re-roll now that it has a name.
I like the idea that we were that like the
name
gotten scuffed off in the war, and like we've been like meaning to paint it back on, and like we just got it painted back on the boat.
Just all right, the last thing, and like gotta have the paint bucket like since I was like, good job. Then it's like boom, giant metal arrow right through the side of it. Yeah.
You just touched up all the wave details on the side too.
Yeah. Well, in Greek, it's like an upside down H and an A are the last character, because Greek is wild. It'll do whatever it wants to do with characters.
Yeah, here on board the Aristaktos Kaima. Anyway,
I know nothing. It's all Greek to me.
Thanks, folks. Good night. Tip your waitress. Try the meal. All right. Phaedros is on the ship. It gets caught by the giant arrows, and Phaedros says, "We've got this magic thing here in the middle that clearly, we've been around it. We've been here driving around, sailing around with it, and trying to attune with this magic item that you need to, take a long rest. Did you have 3 slots? Spend a constitution. I don't know. To be able to channel this item, which will manipulate the weather." Oh, I didn't include it in my roll though.
Roll a d10. Roll a d10.
Roll a d10.
If you're gonna use it. Roll a d10, and we'll see if that changes your outcome.
Higher than a 6. If it's higher than a 6, we win. It's an 8.
Yeah, there you go.
Prevail. You prevail and our best.
And that's why we.
Oh, thank God.
We do our things. That's why we put our things in.
You gotta say it, and that reminds you. Oh wait.
Yeah.
Oh wait.
Yeah. So a 6 and an 8 is 14. So you have prevailed.
Okay.
Oh wait.
I will check it on the
14.
sheet. Okay. Nice. See that it was all a trick, trying to concern everybody. Now I got to rethink everything I was in the middle of trying to say. Yes. Phaedros is up there. Blood and Valor challenge. Also spent pathos because I need to channel spirit and resolve to focus
maybe a little
through
magic,
this thing.
right? Resolve and spirit.
Yeah,
also
this is
just a little bit of.
This
magic.
is something. This is a supernatural thing that we're trying to drive and manipulate to do all this thing. But yeah, the idea was that if you're being drawn into the Kraken's maw, you just hook a spear into its mouth until it's hurt, and it lets go because it's injured. So yeah, we have managed to channel a pillar of lightning from what was before just striking the top of this mountain into kind of the yawning mechanical gullet of this island thing.
Yeah.
I assume there's a terrible grinding noise and maybe a bunch of chunks of metal that go in different directions.
Exactly. Yeah. So this like bolt of lightning that you're able to conjure, it kind of like you can see it arcing in the clouds before it comes down as you're trying to like gather all of this energy, and it's kind of like when volcanoes erupt, there's like all this dust and stuff, and it all just kind of attracts lightning. Like you just see lightning happening in all this like eruptions, and it's kind of like that where the lightning kind of bounces around and like the dust and ash, and it's not like your typical white kind of lightning. It has like this reddish tinge to it as it sort of bounces around a bit, and you can see as it just strikes into this huge maw that's like pulling your ship in, and just gears and parts of this thing that you don't even know how to identify. They're beyond your comprehension of how machines can work. Just fly and careen down the mountain. You see a bunch of those spiders. There was, maybe probably about 20 or 30 of them. I'm just kind of moving around that just get wiped out by these huge pieces of metal that come careening down the mountain, and yeah, that manages to snap enough cables, and the crew working together to pull spears or harpoons out of the ship is enough to at least free the rogue wave, which then begins sliding down the mountain and is able to push the Raven's Feast as well down back into the sea. You are taking on water a bit. Like your ship is definitely worse for wear and it needs repairs, but it's not been turned into wood chips, so you have prevailed.
Is the rogue wave on land? Is it like leaving water, or which of the two boats are on land and or in the water?
So at this point, I think just with the momentum, I think both of them are in water again.
Okay.
Because you all were probably about halfway up this volcano towards this maw, and then just being set free and just sliding down, it pushed them back in. Very bad for the bottom of your ship. Like I said, taking on a lot of water.
I think the way Xenon helped then was by like getting the oarmen to like try and use the oars to bounce against rocks and stuff. We probably lost some oars on this one, and just trying
to keep us upright so we don't
so we don't roll.
Just totally capsize
when we rolled, we would have been effed.
Yeah, that's very bad. Yeah, it's a good thing that didn't happen, huh?
Greco-Roman ruined.
Yeah, Greco-Roman effed, as they used to say in the old legends. But yeah, and so you've saved your ships. You can find that a little ways around the island that this machine has been destroyed, so it's not trying to get your ship anymore. But you can find that sort of around the island's perimeter a bit, you find a small set of docks, and most of the crew is able to stay. And you can see these like docks, like they're more piers. And they're piers that have been like, you can see that some of them have like eyes painted on them. Some of them have like pieces of designs. These piers have been cobbled together from ships that met a very similar fate to the one that your ships almost did. And you can see that sort of waiting on the beach are this group of bedraggled, downtrodden looking individuals. They all have like torn like cloaks that they use to like kind of hide their faces, and they look very wary of you. Yeah, almost perhaps in shame, or maybe they're hiding injury. Some of them, these people look worse for wear. You see that some of them have these very interesting prosthetic limbs that look to be made of a similar type of machinery to what you've seen on this island. And it seems that all of these people have washed up here in one way or another. But one of them steps forward as you step off of your ships. You leave the crew to like patch the biggest holes and to keep bailing water so your ships don't just sink at the pier, but that is a problem that they can handle. You all are heroes. You don't deal with that kind of minutia. You have to figure out what tried to just eat your ship. But one of these individuals approaches you wearing what looks to be like priestly robes, but they are sort of worse for wear. And you can see that there's sort of like armor and metal elements that are kind of built into these robes. And you can see that there is a hammer and an anvil. And you would recognize this as a priest of Hephaestus. Walks up to you, and he says, "Oh, I see that you all managed to escape. That's quite impressive. Where all did you come from? We don't get many ships passing here. Must see the storms and give it a wide berth."
I'm just going to answer for everyone. Yeah, no, we're from Melville. We know the seas. We're strong sailors. Don't worry about it.
I've
Here.
not heard of your island, but I can see for myself the evidence of your expertise. My name is Aradus. I am a priest of Hephaestus here on the island. And I'm very sorry to say that you've arrived at a rather inopportune time. Things are about to get much worse here.
How so?
Well, it's my partner Kasibios. He's a brilliant inventor, and he has built a drill. Sort of this mountain wasn't always a volcano. It was just a mountain, but Kasibios has got it in his head that he can drill into Tartarus. And I think he's close.
Drill into what?
Tartarus. Into the underworld itself. I think he means to free Kronos.
That is not
sounds-
something that we can allow.
No,
don't
that's not a human's job to be in charge of making that decision. No, that needs to be stopped.
I'd agree to an extent. Yes, this is a foolhardy course of action, but he seems dead set on it, and the drill seems close to reaching the Gates of Tartarus. There's a little time though.
Yeah, where's this going on?
Is this the
And-
same group that attacked us? We were attacked on the other side of this island.
Yes, that would be another one of Kasibios' inventions. He needed more parts to, repair the drill and things like that, and so he built this machine that would grab ships. And many of the lost you see here are a victim of his.
How many people is this? That like as I look
Um,
across this crowd, is this tens, hundreds?
It's probably closer to I would say probably closer to 100 at maximum.
Okay.
So like
Sure.
probably more in the tens range, like between
Right.
50 and 100.
Sure.
And you can see that some of them haven't come and gathered, and you can see that they are scavenging from these like hulls and like these metal machines and things like that. They're trying to scavenge parts.
So there are piers here, but there's not like structures for them to live in. They're like
There's
on bare.
There's some
land.
like
Just-
hovels that have been
Sure.
built, but you're not sure where they've been getting food, because all of the parts of this island that you've seen have been just rocky and inhospitable.
Okay.
But they've built hovels out of metal scraps. It's like shacks and things like that.
What motivates your Kasibios partner here? What drives him to try and free Kronos?
I'm not sure. Perhaps it's hubristic ambition. He wants to, take the power of Kronos for himself. Maybe take the place of the gods. With that power, I'm honestly not sure, but he bears some great hatred for the gods that I can't understand.
He sounds like an asshole.
And
I think we should throw him in the nearest volcano and sink this whole island.
There is one
that's,
here.
yeah, that's maybe a bit easier said than done.
I've done some pretty difficult things that a lot of people thought was easier said than done before I did them.
Surely you all have tried to talk him out of this.
I have. He can't
See,
be
that's where
reasoned
you
with.
go wrong.
I don't know what got into him.
One quick trip into a volcano and people become very talkative.
I
For a
mean,
few
that's where the
moments.
drill is. So, I mean, I guess he is already in the volcano. Yeah. But, I don't know what happened, but he wasn't always like this. We used to
How
build
long-
things.
How long have you been here for him to become like this?
I mean, I've been here for most of my life. We set up our workshop here a long time ago. I mean, most of my adult life. I didn't grow up here, but Kasibios and I came here to start a temple and a workshop in honor of Hephaestus. But I don't know. I guess that.
So, follow-up
How
question.
to-
So this seems to be a pretty harsh place to try to live. How do you survive here?
There are
Please don't eat the sailors. Please don't eat the sailors.
no, we don't. we don't resort to cannibalism. Kasibios has some inventions that help with that. I know the schematics. I helped design some of them. We have sort of, and you can see that inside of one of these larger buildings, or like these. It would probably almost look like modern, like hydroponics kind of deal, where they're kind of purifying water and then using that to water plants that they have in these, like, I don't really know how hydroponics works, but it's like it's
There's
basically
plants,
just
there's
these
water, that's it, yeah.
self-sustaining like crops
Sure.
that don't require fertile soil or anything to grow. And there's like, and you can see that they even water themselves kind of deal. There's like this just very complicated contraption that carries water from the sea into like this distill to like sort of get rid of the salt or desalinate the water, and then it continues on and is like sprayed over the crops at certain intervals. It's a very impressive invention, very foreign to almost all of you to do something like that, because it perhaps even some of the more religious among you would be a bit taken aback by this, because it kind of removes the need for Demeter's blessing.
Right.
Or
yeah, they're not even touching the soil.
Yeah, there's no need for rain, there's no need for soil, nothing. It's this just man-made garden essentially.
Makaria is like leaning hard on her staff and has a neutral expression, but also seems pissed
Yeah.
about this whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
But
If it weren't such heresy, it would be super handy on a boat. But
super great. Yeah.
Well, not even that, just like also the whole trying to drill the Tartarus. That's
Yep.
also a huge
yeah,
problem
no,
for her.
that's
So,
that's
like,
big red flag.
Yeah. So here we've kind of reached the trials section, and there's kind of two main things that you guys need to kind of solve, essentially. And you can ask questions and whatever you need to kind of get some more context on this, but there is the need to repair your ship, which Aradus will sort of offer to help in any way he can. He knows some things about ways to work metal into watercraft that don't make them sink, but he could help you fix it and even improve your ship. But that will require scrap that you must sort of gather from the mountain, which is easier said than done. You can see that a lot of these, a lot of the lost, which is what these people have taken to calling themselves, a lot of them carry weapons, because these spider-like creatures sort of, they keep people from scavenging in one way or another.
Yep.
And so a lot of them can be violent, but
The spider-like things, are they like organic, like actually like spiders, or were they like
These are, you can see,
biomechanical kind of deals, or like?
you can see actually there are some of the lost that are scavenging like the carcass of one of these things, and it is
Mhm.
completely made of metal and clockwork.
Oh,
And they seem to be controlled from somewhere inside the mountain. They are autonomous, and it's yeah. That's kind of the only thing, the only type of animal populating this island are these sort of metallic spiders. But yeah, so that is one thing, is to kind of get some parts to repair your ship. The other thing is many of the lost seem almost on death's door. And any way you could help would be appreciated. And Artis kind of mentions as much, that if any of you have knowledge of medicines or, alchemy or anything like that to help these people, or if you could just lend a kind word. He's sort of open to anything, but yeah, that's kind of your two main things that you have sort of pressing. The sort of stopping the drill thing, of course, is the battle. So you have time to sort of do other things here, and maybe even reduce the strife level of the island.
Okay.
If you're able to help the lost, I think that's a fair thing for me to knock off a strife level. Lower it to 4.
I would like to help the people, Phaedros.
I was thinking I might try to help the people too.
Okay. And you have time. You have time to do both, right?
Okay.
Yeah, our artist
so
is
the whole
kind
whole
of
party could help the people and also work on
yeah,
guns.
yeah. Our artist kind of explains to you all that the drill is close, but it is not yet reached the Gates of Tartarus, and once it does, it'll take time to even get through them.
Okay.
And so you have some time, and the sort of time frame he gives you is that once you've gathered the scrap that he needs to start repairing the ship, then you all can go about, maybe stopping this. And that, they'll repay you by, repairing and upgrading your ships as you're saving them, essentially.
Then I think Xenon is going to gather us together, right? Kind of away from Aradus and the lost. And kind of lean in and say, I was thinking on the many trials ahead of us. I think all of us want to help these people. Yes. I think if we can help them and get some of them in a better shape, they could then help us scrap some of this mountain and deal with these spiders. I think if we go it alone, we could be overwhelmed just looking at the landscape there.
Agreed.
Good one.
Okay.
These people need help.
Yes.
Right. So
And just so I know, the
Yeah.
island's like land itself, is it volcanic or is it mountainous and soil and all that kind of stuff? Or is it all
it's
just that really
more
nasty?
volcanic. This is a big piece of like volcanic rock, essentially, that is sticking out of the sea.
Okay.
And you can actually see not too far from here there are lava flows, and it's
Oh, wow.
it's quite hot, and you can see as it kind of meets the sea nearby.
Jesus.
But yeah, this place is desolate. Yeah, it's rough.
Okay.
So this contest that we're going into here is one of craft and reason. Against the book kind of words it as the deprivations of the lost, the things that they are deprived of, which is medical care, good spirits. I mean, there's not much to be happy about here, and to an extent, food, because these small gardens they've made are not enough to feed this many people all day every day. So you can tell that they're very thin. They've been rationing food pretty heavily.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's a craft and reason. Let me go ahead and roll this. I don't think it's not epic, mythic, perilous, or sacred or anything like that. So we'll just roll strife. See, this would have been good to know about, this whole island thing, because I could put everything in ahead of time.
Oh, dang.
And I
yeah,
will
right.
do that for next week. This is better. I just wish I'd known about it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Little
I
hey
should
guys,
pay more attention.
product update. Let's get everybody on board. Do some do some tweets.
All right. Our target number here is 11.
Okay.
And it is a contest of craft and reason.
Shadowwise Xenon will absolutely take up this contest to try and help these people.
Iron-minded Makaria will take up this contest. If I use a great deed, do I put it in other dice?
Yeah, so that's like a D10. It's an advantage die, basically. So you check it and then you can add it.
Okay.
Polar like Hilarion will aid Xenon.
Many-Way Phaedros will take up this challenge. It sounded like before that like even if it was just talking to the people, like that might be a way to go. If that was, would I need to spend pathos to use arts and oration, or could it be an arts and oration challenge?
Yeah, I think specifically this is like craft and reason, because there is like, you also have to know the way to go about it, because just saying like, hey, chin up, pal, it's not so bad.
Look up, little campers, you're gonna make it through this.
Like that's not gonna cut it.
The like keep calm, carry on bumper stickers aren't just gonna like sway the masses.
Yeah, you see one of the planks on the piers actually has it has that coexist logo on it. that was the stern of one of the ships. That
yeah. All gods are great.
Yeah. All right, so we have Iron-minded Makaria has prevailed with a 15, so nice. Already starting out strong here.
And what when I'm so sorry, when Hilarion, when you assist me, what are you assisting me with? What domain?
Well, what I mean, Hilarion can help gather stuff or cheer up people, or he's gonna help however you want him to help.
Yeah, he needs to know what die you're giving him, love.
Yeah, you're giving me
right.
Blood and Valor, or
you know what?
Arts and oration.
Yeah,
tell a funny story.
He'll tell. That's a D6.
Okay, perfect.
I need to put in the mechanisms, because, which is also the name of a band, I believe, that like the writer of the Magnus Archives was in. That's interesting.
Hey, Ethan, if I'm... Oh, shit, David, good job.
All right. Yeah, we're dropping Demeter's Lotus on this one.
Ooh.
Yeah, I dropped Purifier of Nemos
sweet.
on this one.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Let's revitalize this island. Let's give it some real fortitude here. Yeah, love it.
Okay. I'm just putting the mechanisms into the island sheet really quick so that I have those, because that's kind of the main antagonist here.
Sure, and you're gonna be using it a lot, so that makes a lot of sense.
I think if I'm reading this right, my resolve and spirit rolled an 8, which is perfect for how I want to line this up if I'm reading this right.
If you're not reading it right, even then, that's okay.
Okay.
Whatever works. Oh, that's so bad. Okay. I'm just one of the effects of these machines is just nasty, but I love it. It's my favorite thing. We'll see here in a sec when y'all get to the thing.
Good.
Cool. So we have an 18 from Xenon and a 15 from Makaria. So let's start with Phaedros. What is your action here? How are you trying to help? And then how do you suffer? And remember, suffer here is a general term that you can kind of apply in a few different ways. It might not be that you were injured or that you embarrassed yourself. It might be that, you were helping someone and then something bad befell you as a result. Like, you can make it as heroic as you like.
Yeah, I think so yeah, I did tempt Pathos to bring in arts and oration to try to be like, I'm gonna help, here we're gathering food and stuff and it's gonna help everybody. But really, like if you were on a boat and you were able to be like, yeah, we're gonna try to bolster this by like we're gonna do some extra fishing, like Phaedros would have more tips for you.
Mhm.
Being on ground and on land and like trying to grow food, like that 6 generations, nobody in my family's done that, right?
Yeah.
We're fishermen, we're boat people, we sail, right? So he doesn't really have a good way to try to actually get them more food, and him trying to like explain and like boost morale like goes real wrong. Like it does not come across the right way at all.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think it's like you're giving the best advice you can. I think the lost do appreciate that. I think it's just like your realization that you just can't help. Like there's just
Yeah.
in this particular case, and I think that's kind of the suffering is like that internal realization. I don't think the lost feel any sort of negative emotion towards you. I think like they appreciate that anyone is willing to help in any capacity, but it's just that you can't help, and that doesn't feel great.
Phaedros is like, have you tried using dirt? I've heard that's good.
I think
Yes.
you use the dirt and like you put a thing in it and then like there's water.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
Yeah,
Phaedras
a lot
is
of
like,
things
I can barely stand up on this solid land that you have here. So, I mean, you're growing plants out of something. That's great. Yeah. So on to Makaria.
Makaria gathers some people around, more to not have them help, but so she can show them this magic. And she pulls out from a small sack that she has on her side, several seeds, and she holds them up to her mouth and says a few words, before she sort of tosses them out, in the open space before her. And she stamps her, after that, she stamps her staff down into the ground. And slowly, this energy pulses out from her staff and into the ground. And then, where these seeds were thrown, the vines start to appear, with that look healthy, and flowers begin to bloom, and fruit of different kinds begins to come off of these vines that seem to live here for at least the moment, with rich succulent food for these people to eat. And at least for this part of the island, it has been purified, and will continue to grow with Demeter's blessing.
Yeah. And you can see that as these vines are growing, the roots that are coming out of these seeds, you can see as they kind of like break up this volcanic rock and like turn it into like a fine dust, and that with time and with these plants decay, that it could become some type of soil, if by no other way than these sort of divine power of Demeter and Persephone. Excellent. And then Shadowwise Xenon.
So yeah, so Shadow Eye Xenon, we are fully committed to helping these people, and knowing that uh, uh, we're going to work on some gathering of food, and then Makaria was going to birth forth like real agriculture on this island in a way that it has probably never seen. Um, Xenon applies his and Hilarion's time to rallying the people with hilarious stories of Hilarion's like youth in building homes, and we go about the business of connecting these vines from some of the ground cover from Macaria's area to create a vast canopy. And in that canopy, I plant the Lotus of Demeter to give it, these big trunks of just tree-like strength coming up, holding up a home, a large home that gives them all space to breathe. And those, roots dig deep into the earth and crack it open, and a small spring comes up. And we spend some time navigating that towards this farm that Makaria has made. And we provide them shelter and food and a bit of merriment, right, through Hilarion's efforts. And for maybe the first time in months, they know a smile.
Yeah.
Their lips taste fresh water that hasn't been siphoned through a machination and tastes of copper and metal, like real fresh water for the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's actually it creates this very interesting like dichotomy in their little settlement that they've kind of carved out. Because you have like all of these wondrous inventions and the people themselves with parts of them clockwork as well. And you would know after spending some time speaking to them that it was Aradus that made these things from scraps that they brought him. He fashioned these limbs, and you even see that one of these sailors who typically keeps a hood pulled over their face. They pull it back to reveal that one of their eyes even is made of this clockwork, and there is a sort of a dim light that shines out of it. And these are truly amazing inventions.
Xenon would ask him a lot about this stuff. I mean, that would be fascinating to Xenon as a tinkerer of shipwright stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This would all be just mind blowing to him, and he'd want to know where his knowledge of this came from, and how did he make these wondrous creations.
Yeah, I think Aradus will kind of like he'll talk to you about it. He'll say, "Well, I think ultimately these inventions came from the same place as all inventions. They came from the gift that was given to mankind long ago. The fire of Prometheus that gave us the knowledge and the ability to use the things that we see. And I myself, of course, am devoted to Hephaestus, and I cannot discount the gift of ingenuity that Hephaestus has given me personally. But ultimately, I think it was Prometheus's flame that has allowed me to build these works. And Kasibios may have a different answer if he's even thinks that way anymore. But for me, that's what it is. Yeah, and you can see that I've lowered the strife level for the island to a +4 now because you've done good work getting these people kind of resuscitated a bit and feeling better and giving them some tools. But yeah, that pretty much handles the loss. They'll be okay. Some of them do approach you, and they ask. One of them, it looks kind of like a leader. He's got sort of an eye patch, and then the other eye is one of these clockwork eyes.
Okay, wow.
And you can see that, like, pretty much like an entire side of his body is also made of like clockwork limbs and things like that. And you can also see like the remnants of some pretty heavy burns. He seemed to have faced a very, very rough time with the Sundering Maw. Much worse than even what you all faced, which you all have lost crew. Certainly. Several, tens of crew members even. But this man will approach and he sort of he has kind of a hat in his hand that he had fashioned from some like it's this weird mesh almost, like it's not like metal necessarily, but it's this interesting material that has been pulled from like the linings of some of these machines. But he says, if it's not too much trouble, I still most of my crew survived, and we've added to our number with some of the other lost, and a group of us, we wanted to know if we could come with you all when you leave this island. You have 2 ships, and I was a sailor myself for a time, and I can see that you have not nearly enough men left to sail both of those at any speed worthy of the vessels that you have there. So we would like to add to your number, and in exchange, we would just simply like a place to go.
Xenon would look at Phaedros.
I think Phaedros would eye them up and down to try to like. They look like they know what they're doing. Lend a hand patching up the ships while we go on about our business, and then we'll have space. We'll have bunks in the ships for you at the time.
Yeah, and he kind of nods like very deeply and kind of reaches out a hand to like clasp Phaedros's. And he says, "Thank you. We will, with Aradus's help, we should be able to improve your vessels even. You'll be surprised at how fast we're skirting the waves." And he kind of excitedly kind of turns to the others and kind of calls out to them and lets them know that, the deal is on as long as they do a good job on the ship. And like you could see some of them even kind of cheer, and they go about starting to pull some of the scrap that they have here extra, but you can tell that it's not going to be nearly enough. Which turns your attention once again to the side of the mountain with the, various hulking derelicts and the small mechanical spiders that kind of are pulling bits and pieces. They're doing the same thing that you all intend to do, and that's scavenge. And you can see now that these spiders, some of them sort of disappear. And it takes you a minute to notice, but they're actually like trap doors and vents built into the side of this mountain as well that these spiders are traveling back into the mountain through.
No good.
Yeah,
No
it's really
good.
bad, huh?
No good comes from robot spiders to begin with, but
yeah, and they have trapdoor access. Like,
yeah,
yo, I've played Doom. I know this is not going to go well.
Yeah. And you know that there are many of these things. Whereas like maybe 30 of them got crushed by debris when you destroyed the Sundering Maw. That was not even 1/100th of how many of these things there are. They're everywhere. In addition to these very large machines that kind of roll slowly along the side of the mountain and is just grinding up scrap.
So they're like the harvesters or whatever.
Yeah, there's basically these, and you can see as these little spiders kind of bring little pieces in front of it. Some they take into.
They're like little crows. Here, here's shiny. You like.
And
shiny.
you even see that some of these spiders are getting pulled into this harvester as they try to drop things off just to be turned into scrap and reused and built again.
Good.
Yeah. But if you all would like to salvage,
before we go out, I think that Shadow Wise Xenon is going to pull our priest aside and pump him for information on these spiders. Whatever he knows about how they work, how they can be fooled or disabled, or what does he know of this?
Crushed beneath the mighty club, is it, of Hilarion?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Hilarian's already a little on edge. He doesn't mind telling any of you, just you, but not any of the. But those mechanical eyes, man, they give him the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, no, he's not happy about that. Just the eyes. He's okay. The guy with the leg, that was a little weird. He was okay with that, but it's the eye. It zoomed in at him, and he's not cool with it.
Yeah. So Aradus would explain that these spiders were invented by Kasibios. Aradus actually was not part of that process, which is one of the reasons why he's not in the workshop. They had a disagreement, and all of these mechanisms sort of turned against him and forced him out, which he seems very sad as he talks about that, like this sort of disagreement with Kasibios. But yeah, these spiders, they come from the workshop. There is this whole sort of apparatus. Actually, I think I have that in our Roll20. I think I have the picture from this island. So let me just go ahead.
And he was exiled by these spiders.
He was exiled by Kasibios that turned these spiders against him. So if you look in the Roll20, there's a new image now that's a little topical here. Is that the one I'm thinking
Don't
of?
like
There's another one. Oh yeah, here we go. So that's like one of the mechanisms.
Oh yeah.
Right, is what can currently be seen. And unfortunately, folks on the stream, I don't
I
show
mean,
this.
you
Roll20,
know,
but-
8 limbs with like little pointy toe feet, right? Little pointy bits
Yeah.
for feet, and then
Mhm.
like obviously some eyes. No, that's
Yeah.
not okay.
It's pretty bad. And then he
I'm
begins.
putting,
Oh,
sorry,
go
I'm
ahead.
putting it in the podcast and stream channel for
Okay.
anyone that's in our Discord.
Great. Yeah, and then the other thing, then he launches into explaining what the workshop is and what this drill is, because that's important as well, because that's where these things originate.
Right,
And he says
yeah.
that actually the sort of central like shaft of this volcano was made by the drill, and that it is an enormous drill that has an obsidian dome on top of it that protects Kasibios' workshop. And that inside is, you know, all of his sort of, I guess his different inventions that he uses, all of the devices that he needs, as well as the machines that build these spiders and then send them out into the island. And that these sort of the scrap that comes back gets fed into machines that build new machines, and it's become this sort of automated factory almost. And Kasibios just sits at the helm of the drill to make sure that it continues ever downward.
Like, no, it's safe. I gave them 3 rules they can't break. It's like,
Right.
no,
Pretty
this is
much.
not- you can't trust this. No.
See robot. Never harm Kasibios. What? Kasibios?
Kasibios, yeah.
Kasibios. Never harm Kasibios. Never harm Kasibios. Gather stuff.
Yep. That's the
Those are
prime
his 3 rules.
directives.
Yeah. So just so I got it, looking at this picture helps. There's a drill, this massive drill.
Yeah.
There's a workshop on top of the drill.
Mm-hmm. And
there's
it's
an
contained
obsidian.
within an obsidian like dome.
That is some epic. That is some epic business right there.
Yep. I told you this was a new. We've entered a new level.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Cool.
But yeah. And yeah, basically that's the situation. He explains that the mechanisms can be destroyed. I mean, just like anything else, you just disrupt them and they'll stop. But the problem is their numbers. There's just far too many for, you know, even the greatest heroes to sort of get rid of, because they're essentially endless. That's actually one of their characteristics that I have.
Good.
Is endless.
Great.
So if we're
So-
like, I know, let's decimate. Let's get rid of 10% of them. It's like, all right, well, that's a lifetime, and they've been making more.
Yeah. So if you all wish to salvage, this will actually be another contest of craft and reason as you try to avoid these things as best as possible. And it's a little stealthy. It's like a little stealth mission actually. To gather some scraps to repair your ship. So I think we'll do this contest and then we'll go to break, if that sounds good to everybody. And then we'll come back and kind of see how you guys want to go about this battle. And as you're talking to Aradus before you leave, he kind of stops you and he says, Xenon, right? You seem a reasonable sort, and there's something I would like to discuss with you on your return. I don't think this drill needs to be destroyed. I think there's something else we can do with it.
I'll kind of like narrow my gaze at him and like, this better be good kind of thing is what he was probably trying to communicate.
Mhm.
And Xenon says, if the drill can be spared, we will hear you out.
Yeah. All right. Go gather your salvage. I'll draw up some schematics for some improvements to your ship. And he goes to like his makeshift workshop, which you can tell it's sort of out of sorts, and like he's missing things, and he's looking for stuff because this just isn't his workshop.
Yeah, where he used to have, a big anvil, he has like a sturdy rock. And where
Mhm.
he would have like a table or a bench, it's like a door from a ship.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
all scrapped together. Yeah.
Yeah, so let me roll here for this contest. So this is Craft and Reason versus the Mechanisms. And so I get to unveil something here. The Mechanisms have another aspect to them that I really enjoy called learning machines. Which basically means every time you have a contest against the Mechanisms, they learn a little bit about you and how to battle you. And so they actually gain a d8 to their pool for every contest.
Oh God.
Which that starts at 0, but you've had one contest against them now, so they now have one extra d8. And then the next time they'll have 2, and the next time 3, and so on.
Is this contest the one contest, or when we had our boat stuck to harpoons?
When you had your boat stuck to harpoons, that was the first one.
Oh no!
So this is the second one, so they have one d8 added to their pool now.
Oh,
But
no.
they're not extremely formidable on their own necessarily. I mean, it is perilous, but they only have like a 2d8 pool normally. And so that is now up to 3. Let me see here. Let me double check that I have all of their stuff in correctly. Yes, d8, d8, and 1d8 for every contest they've had against you. I love that. That was the mechanic I was telling you guys about before the stream, that like just adding that in just to any situation, like that's a cool like counter of difficulty. Like things are getting worse.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah, but they can only get so bad.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
It's not increasing like their maximum difficulty. It's just increasing the likelihood that they will be more efficient against you.
Right. Yeah.
Gets them closer to that like 12, 13 kind of area, right?
What is it like? Some people like they get advantage. They get double advantage. Triple advantage.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah, and I think cool. We'll just do that. And did that. Craft and Reason. Submit. Just a 9. Just a 9. So that's good. It helps that the strife level is lower now. So that's like a -1 from everything. Right. So
Cool.
That is what we're going against here. So who all is going to go scavenge on the mountain?
Shadowwise Xenon is all for a stealth operation.
Sounds right up Shadowwise Xenon's alley.
Mhm.
I'm happy to assist Shadowwise Xenon.
Excellent. With which domain?
Resolve and Spirit.
Okay. Yeah. I imagine Resolve in Spirit is that moment where you're hiding behind a hunk of metal as one goes by, and you have to hold your breath kind of deal. That's kind of what I'm imagining there. That seems appropriate.
Yep.
Anyone else?
Did you say that this was Craft and Reason?
It is, yes. It is also perilous.
Which means if you fail, you spend a pathos, right?
Mm-hmm.
The goal is to go get supplies, right?
Right. While not being overrun by the mechanisms.
Right.
Which is the craft and reason part. It's the avoiding things part.
Right.
Hilarion will do this.
Okay. Excellent. And Makaria?
Makaria will take up this challenge.
Excellent. All right. So, everybody get your stuff together.
Yeah.
Get your dice pools made, and let's roll it up. test your fate, heroes.
In the resolve in spirit from Phaedros is a D8. Okay.
Okay, nice.
Whoa.
Wow. Okay. Y'all must have hit it the exact same time, and like the random number generator just hadn't rolled over to the next
Just
number
coughed.
yet.
Yeah. Mhm.
It was like in this microsecond, everybody gets a 15.
I mean, it's got to be something like that,
in the
right?
next
Like-
microsecond, everybody gets a 1.
right.
Yeah.
It seems the way it works sometimes. Okay, so you both need to roll your name dice to figure out who is best, because ties can't happen here.
and we just type out /roll.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Oh dang.
Okay, well that's good. Okay, well we have the two ends of the spectrum here. It looks like in the end Xenon with his shadow-wise ways will come out on top. But everybody prevailed. So we will start with Makaria.
Makaria is very leery of these machines. So she didn't put a lot of resources into this role and thought she was going to fail. So I think I don't think she's climbing anything. I think she's near the bottom where things have fallen, right? And doesn't like any of the things that move. So she's poking things with her staff. And then if it doesn't move and it looks like parts, that'll be good. Because she's worried about the damn spiders. Like there could be one anywhere. Who knows what's going to happen? But once she finds that something is like not that, then she'll go and pull it out. But that's her crafty ways, is just poking it with a stick.
Yeah. And this path that you guys are kind of making through here, you're followed by a few of the lost who have a sled that they are pulling that you are just loading scrap onto, essentially. And they're following at a very far distance because they don't want to get caught up in any of the mechanisms, but you have like a place where they are hidden and you can bring back.
They're
scrap.
like ready to run if it looks like something's going south for us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Excellent. So Boulder like Hilarion.
So Boulder like Hilarion has called upon a bond with his friend Xenon, and he's following Xenon. He's trying to be stealthy, which is it's not easy. It's not easy. So the goal here was to gather supplies, and Hilarion realizes that, and it could be very simple to just pick something up and carry it down the hill, but that's not really how Hilarion operates. So he's gonna follow Xenon and wait, because he sees all these trapdoors and all these things like that. Eventually, one of these spiders is going to come out of a trapdoor, and Hilarion's just tiptoeing behind Xenon with his club. And the minute one of those spiders comes down, it's just clang, 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 and then he grabs it and runs down the hill. That's his whole plan.
We're stealthing, and this thing leaps up out of the ground, and Hilarion's like, finally!
Bam! It's just clang, 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 and then he grabs it. It runs downhill.
You find that most of the time the first one does it, but the next three just make you feel better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
excellent.
That's
Which brings us to Shadowwise Xenon.
So
Who's
I think,
best?
yeah, I think what Xenon's plan is to do here, as we're quietly making our way up this volcanic face, Hilarion has been like saving the party's hide with these things, right? And Makaria has been like making sure that we're not getting snuck up on from behind, and we're not missing any like valuable pieces. And you mentioned that there were these big rolling things.
Yep.
I think that Xenon lays a trap for one to disable it and have it so that it rolls down the hill and is caught
Gotcha.
by Hilarion and crew and Phaedros and everybody, full
Excellent.
of all of its loot
Yeah,
that has been hoovering up on
absolutely.
on the mountainside. I don't
Excellent.
know exactly how he disables it. I assume that he kind of knows its path and lays a trap and, has it lose limbs or lose whatever, machination keeps it upright so that it is
Right.
then free to roll down the mountain.
Yeah, I think these things kind of remind you of like a scarab beetle,
Okay.
and where all the scrap is kind of contained under this like metal casing. And so you're able to like remove a few of its limbs with some well-placed traps, and then it just kind of rolls down the hill, and they're able to pry open that like metal casing like scarab's wings to pull the scrap out.
Okay.
Um,
Awesome.
Yeah, excellent. So everyone remember to mark your glory. 9 from this one and 13 from the first one. If you're not best, you mark half, round it up. I'll leave that to y'all to do the math on those. But yeah, with that, as you return with all of the scrap down to Aradus, he lays out in front of you, Phaedros, these schematics, and essentially the sort of adjustments that he has proposed are some like they almost look like fans, they have like blades. It looks like a number of blades kind of arranged in a circle, which is how I'm describing what looks like a fan, and basically almost like a propeller. And the way these are built, they're to be built onto the bottom of the ship, along with a metal plating to kind of cover the entire bottom to prevent, sliding down rocks from being an issue. Since the whole bottom is just torn to hell. But that these will catch water as your ship moves and then begin to spin, which will then push the water even faster behind you, and it'll actually increase the speed of your ship just from its own movement to where the rowers can actually stop after a certain amount of time, and it will just continue. As well, and in addition to this, some of those harpoon mechanisms are sort of repurposed, and he would like to add some of those to your ship, as well as a few other minor things that we won't define. I'll let you all kind of tell me if it comes up. I think would be fun.
Oh, cool.
To just have like some floating upgrades on the ships of some like mechanical nature, right? So maybe there's like shields that can pop up, if you guys are under attack, like just these metal shields that just cover all of the archers and all of your crew, kind of deal. So just I'll leave it up to you. I think that's fun. So
We'll find out later when it's useful.
find out later when it's useful. Yeah, keep that like Forge of the Dark kind of
Check
mentality.
gear when you need it. Yeah.
Yep, check gear when you need it.
Yeah.
We've played enough of these games. We know how it works.
Yeah.
But yeah, and they will begin work on that. But before you all get ready to sort of figure out what to do about this drill, Aradus approaches all of you together this time and says, I spoke with Xenon before. I think there's another place we can send this drill. Freeing Kronos would be foolhardy. It would be apocalyptic. There's no telling what. It took all of the gods together to defeat him the first time. That would be insane. But I know where Prometheus is, and that drill can break his chains.
That would be Seriously? You know where Prometheus is?
I do. I mean, it's not far. I'm sure you all are aware of Prometheus's fate. Chained atop a mountain. Just carried by eagles every day. That mountain's not too far from here. You've probably noticed the lightning. Zeus doesn't like this place for a reason.
Well, there's also a reason not to fight with that, or
Yeah, I think it's a bad idea. We should just leave him there.
You don't have to decide now. Think about it. This is huge. Think of what this could mean for humanity. To have
Yeah, we
our
really
first
pissed off
teacher,
Zeus.
to have our first teacher return to us. The things I've made here are amazing, and some of that with Prometheus's insight, but I could make even more with him helping me. I just consider it. I understand that you all are on this journey from the gods, and they certainly would not appreciate. Zeus especially wouldn't appreciate Prometheus's freedom, but I think Hephaestus might. That's that's a lot of knowledge to be shared with mankind, and a lot of things we could make. I just ask that you all consider it. And
you have given these people new life, and that means something. At least enough to consider.
And if that is what your plan is, I can help you. I can help you get to Kasibios. I can help you, redirect the drill. But that's my condition, is that the drill frees Prometheus.
So you're saying you're not gonna help save the world from Kronos unless we're gonna use the drill to piss off Zeus?
Look, I can work on your ship, but if you're gonna free Prometheus, I want to be there when it happens. So I will come and help you in person, but otherwise I will just stay here. If you have some other plan, but
well, this is something we need to discuss amongst us heroes, as that is quite the task that you are putting at our feet.
I understand. It's definitely not a small ask, but you're the only ones that I've met who would be capable of such a thing in the first place. So think about it. And he'll kind of hold up a hand and sort of give a small bow to you all and return to start giving people directions to sort of start work on the ships. You can see they have like a place set up where they can actually pull the ships out of the water onto like a dry dock kind of thing, where they can actually reach all the parts of the ships.
Get to the hull and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
get to the hull. So that's kind of what they're working on now. And I think with that, we'll cut to our break and leave that bombshell for you all to
Yeah.
ruminate
Over.
on. Yeah,
Think of all the glory.
think of all the glory.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, we're going to be back 10 minutes.
Sure.
That's been our standard lately. Yeah, so we're going to be back in 10 minutes. So that it should be right before the next hour, basically 10 minutes before, 8 minutes before the next hour. So yeah, let's find out what our heroes do, and if we try and go for that stretch goal, or if we even just go all in on Zeus. We already Zeus already kind of likes us. What are we gonna do? Tune in 10 minutes to find out.
Yes, very good. All right, see everybody soon.
Yeah. Let's do this. Was my
Now.
timing good? Well, we're back now. Okay. I was just saying stuff.
You really hyped me up to hit the button
Yeah.
with your all right. I was feeling very excited.
I got some more feedback. Hopefully the audio is better. So chat, if my audio is still bad or low, let me know. I have another microphone I can use, but I'm nervous to do a mic change in the middle of the thing. So let us know how my audio is doing. And yeah, let's do this, right? We're on this island. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Katrina.
Sorry, it probably didn't happen for you guys, but there was a camera switch on my end. Are the panels all okay?
Panels are good.
Yeah, looks like everybody's
Okay,
good.
just wanted to.
Yeah, once I move things don't move.
Yeah, on my
Yeah.
side, there's been a big switch, and it's very
Mhm.
confusing.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
looking in different places.
Sorry,
now.
I flicked my switch when I left before and then turned it back on, so it's probably me.
Mike.
Yeah, I think
think
once
I know.
once you start like moving people around in Zoom, it just stays like it stops moving people when
Oh,
they turn
really?
their
Yeah, it's
camera
like-
off. But
All these people are locked in place. We don't care anymore.
yeah, but by default it moves stuff around. It's
Neat.
I always forget about that. But yeah, you guys Aradus has just given you sort of his plan, his idea, and has left you all to discuss amongst yourselves before you decide what to do. He did leave instructions to like come and talk to him before you leave because he has a way in that he can show you. That'll be a little bit easier than just maybe rappelling down from the top. You know,
One would
maybe,
hope. One would
well,
hope.
easier might not be the right word, but less perilous, we'll say.
Sure.
Maybe not even that, but it's different. It's a better. He has a way.
Mildly safer.
As a
OSHA
player,
compliant.
I don't know who imprisoned.
Zeus.
Mm.
Zeus
Yeah,
was
so-
Zeus in prison.
Okay.
Yeah, so Zeus was very angry with Prometheus for giving the knowledge of fire to humanity. Because, all the gods at that point were of the opinion that humanity was better off in their sort of ignorant bliss.
Right.
They were taking care, the gods were taking care of it. It was a meager existence, but it was like, look at our colony of ants. They do what ants are supposed to do. That's great. And then Prometheus said, what if I taught ants to like make fire
Right.
and also gave them the capacity to learn to do other things? And so then the ants started like building ant cities and like doing things that ants aren't supposed to do.
Ant governments.
Having ant governments and like relying on themselves rather than the gods, and that didn't sit too well.
Yeah.
I'll let you know here. Basically, there are sort of a few options here. One, break the drill. Just get rid of it, keep it from breaking through the gates of Tartarus. The other, turn the drill to free Prometheus. Or, maybe there's another option you haven't thought of, but those are like your two main ones. Or like break it because you're not really sure if there's a way to turn it off. Right? You don't really know anything about the control mechanism. It might just be automatically heading that way.
Yeah.
So, like, the easiest thing to do would be to just break it, which Aradus will probably not like that much. Or, yeah, you can turn it and free Prometheus. Those are the options that you've kind of had presented to you so far. More may reveal themselves as you kind of make your way and figure out what's actually going on.
I do not want to free Prometheus as much as he has done for humanity. The kind of wrath that Zeus has put upon him is not one to trifle with. This machine needs to be stopped. We don't need to send it on to do other things.
Boulder like Hilarion is violently opposed to freeing Prometheus.
Violently opposed.
And he says it that way. This is the sort of thing.
Well, Phaedros, being the one who's not descended from a god, says, look what these people have accomplished here, and that's just with Hephaestus. If they had Prometheus to give humanity more guidance as well, we could really achieve something.
possibly, but you know what Zeus did to Prometheus. Think of what he would do to the people that freed Prometheus from his imprisonment. It's not like he's going to be like, oh, that's fine.
No.
There's going to be repercussions, and I don't want any part of that.
It's true. Zeus.
I don't want to be up there next to Prometheus.
Right. Zeus would not like this.
Y'all thought that wrath die Artemis through it. Y'all was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just
The,
one.
The other gods, though, what would their thoughts on this be? Apollo's
Who can-
love of knowledge and all who seek it. Hephaestus, ingenuity.
But the
Hermes,
gods are fickle, though. Like, just because they may represent something does not say that they would get behind this plan, especially when Zeus is so violent in how he has taken care of Prometheus.
The gods being fickle is exactly why humanity should be independent. That's why they could use Prometheus. That's
Hera may appreciate Zeus's embarrassment at this. There are more boons that we could achieve from this, but could go awry.
it's not without its difficulties, but it's not all bad across the entire board.
Yes, it is.
I have a counterpoint that's out of character. If we do anything here, what is Heracles going to do in a couple of years and there's no Prometheus on this island? Like,
There's plenty of people who are going to do this. It's fine. This is destined to happen. It's just not specific to like who's supposed to do that. And if you don't like it, that's where you spend your bonds. Change the leader's mind. So
yeah, I'm waiting for the leader to make a decision so that I can spend a bond to change it.
the leader's made his decision. The leader has made an argument in his like what he's leaning towards. Yeah.
Cool. The 5 bonds that I have with Phaedras, I'm gonna spend at least one of them to convince him that this is not a good idea.
Phaedra,
wish-
you owe her a lot.
It's only one bond, though, right, Ethan?
Yeah, I wish there was a better way of doing this almost, because it feels like we have like 2 relatively even sides, and then for one bond to completely change the course of it, I don't know if that's interesting, right? Like just to have it be decided on like one thing. I love to brainstorm another way to decide this to where like everybody kind of gets a.
Well, maybe you could do it to where like you spend a bond, but if somebody on the other side really wants to push back, they can spend a bond to negate your.
Oh my god.
Yeah, let's play that game.
Is
Let's
this
spend all
Bang?
the bonds.
It's like playing
I
Bang.
like
Bang.
that.
We're
yeah.
gonna play Bang.
We've just turned this into a game of Monopoly based off bonds, and at the end of it, the family still ends up arguing. But somebody is finished.
We get to walk away with less resources for us to use in future challenges.
Sounds like Greek
Right.
myth to me.
I mean,
It is. That actually is. That's like straight up like,
Yeah.
you really want this? Great. What are you going to spend to make that happen? Because you're
Yeah.
going to have to spend
I like that. I like that. How much social capital are we spending here to make sure that what we want happens?
oh, I know exactly how much social capital we're going to involve in that. Valerian will just casually put his arm around Phaedros' shoulders, turn him back towards the port, and point to the ship and be like, "Do you like that? Because if you think we're going to free Phaedra or Prometheus, I'm going to break that before it happens."
Hilarion.
That is a.
How many bonds is that?
Yeah, how many
I don't
bonds?
know.
Is that?
But that is without a doubt what Hilarion would say.
From I guess like
Valerian, you would imprison yourself on this island?
I have no doubt that the vengeance of Zeus would be swift and terrible, and it might not be against me. I have family at home.
We all
They're
do.
far more important that I have to consider the actions thereof. I would rather stay imprisoned on this island than put them at that risk.
I'm not going to break your ship. I'm just going to pout at you a lot. Phaedros.
And spend the bonds that you've got with Phaedros. Yeah.
I can look very moody. I kind of already do goth kid vibe.
There'll be a lot of stomping around deck with the staff, just so it makes extra noise. Yeah,
Yep.
I think
it's okay. There's the other ship. That one.
I think the thing I want to know here is like how, like I would rather not do it as like a bidding war, kind of like I'm gonna use bonnet. That like how much does the side that, because the leader is kind of the default decision, right? And Phaedros is in favor of freeing Prometheus. So how many bonds are anyone going to spend to sort of bolster that?
I'll use
that
3
decision.
bonds for my opinion.
Okay.
Which is to not free Prometheus.
And I'm gonna say you probably have to spend bonds with the person who's trying to convince you to like cancel those out, basically.
So I don't want to make it into like a giant thing. I just like,
okay.
Phaedros kind of sees this angle and this thing. Like I almost feel like if Xenon goes on that side and they convince Xenon it's a bad idea, and like I'm clearly outvoted by everybody else in the party.
Mm-hmm.
What if we
I can take that.
What if we explore other options?
Okay.
There are this priest has given us his happy path. His happy path is that 4 incredible heroes show up and just gift him his life's mission. What if we don't do that? But we still don't break the drill.
Can it be stopped?
I don't know. But if we gave him the drill and said, we know this is your life's goal, but you have no means to achieve it, you're free to continue that effort. But we are not going to directly free Prometheus.
Here's a bow, here's the arrow. We're not drawing it back. You get to
Good
fire
enough
it.
At what
transport
point
it.
in time
Is
are
he going to
we?
even be able to transport it? Right? And when he gets it there, what challenges is he going to face? He asked us to do it all for him. Not just get me the drill. He said, you take the drill and free Prometheus. What if we don't do that, but we give him the tool to maybe convince someone else to take up this errand? Because Hilarion, your point stands well, that you don't want Zeus's wrath to visit your family. Well, then you shouldn't do this. And maybe we shouldn't do this either. That doesn't mean that it shouldn't get done.
I worry that they're already knocking on the door to Tartarus, and us not breaking the machine means that they could just continue after we leave. I have ties.
Well, the people here at least don't seem short of Dr. Evil trying to break out the people from hell. Like the people here, the priest, the rest of the lost, they don't actually want Kronos release. Nobody does unless you've got,
Gremlins,
a thing going on. Yeah. So I feel like if they had it, that's a thing they don't want to happen to begin with. They're not going to continue down that path.
I can be swayed to leaving the machine, but not taking it to Prometheus, so that the priest can do as he will. As long as there is some failsafe, if there's something to make sure that it doesn't do the deed that it's trying to right now. And if that means that we have to kill this other priest, I believe that is a necessary thing to do in this situation.
I think we
because Kasibios is shuffling off this mortal coil one way or another, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So
We
we
can
all
get to
agree that
Tartarus a different way.
the drill cannot get there. Yeah.
Also,
by direct path.
Also, Aradus did not say that Kasibios was a priest. Kasibios is just an inventor. He
partner,
the invented
partner.
one.
Okay.
Thank you.
does not claim any allegiance to any of the gods.
Okay.
Especially since he's kind of trying to kill him.
Yeah, it sounds like he's trying to. He hates them, and he's trying to get. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
So we all agree that this cannot happen with
Right.
with
Kronos
bringing
can't get
up-
out. Yes.
that we completely agree on that. If we leave this to his own devices, Hilarion, if we get to the drill and I can figure out a way to stop it, would that suffice? It is in this priest's hands, and we are on our way. Kronos is not freed. Zeus's wrath on this island is no more. We have saved all the gods from an epic calamity by stopping the drill. Maybe not breaking it, but by stopping it. If we can't figure out how to do it, we break the drill.
Hilarion is exceedingly unhappy by the way that this conversation is going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
I want to say, like in my mind, I'm thinking of, rather than like spending, favor to change minds, like can Hilarion give a name die to Ethan when he rolls the difficulty of this task to make it like, that's how bad Hilarion is against him.
Wow.
Same team. Same team.
No.
See, the name of the game is competitive
Wait, hold on.
cooperation, so we have to
Let's-
spin bonds to find that happy spot.
Let's confirm what we're talking about, though.
Right.
We're talking about going down, stopping the drill, and then leaving it so that they can do what they will with it.
Right.
We're not taking it to Prometheus. We're not doing any of that. We're just stopping the drill.
Only if we can figure out how to stop the drill. If we
Right.
can't figure out how, we still break the drill.
He made that guy's down there little bitty robot eye. He's
Oh,
made
right.
all
You don't like
these
that either. I
robots.
forgot.
He's got all this stuff. He's gonna make some crazy spider leg things that takes that thing up there. It's just a matter of time.
But that will be his punishment to bear. And your point about not having punishment visited to you and your family is a good one. And I want us to not have that happen to us as well. But if he wants to do this thing that would benefit our species, and he's successful in that endeavor without our aid, then it is the will of the fates.
Or if other champions come to this island and decide to help, then it's their fate and not ours.
My concern also is if we just turn off the machine in some way, what's to stop the next person from just turning it on? Like the guy down here, he's fine now,
right,
but he might decide, in a few months he eats the wrong berry or a bad fish and decides maybe we got to go to Tartarus too.
Sure. It is a risk.
If the entire party wants to just stop the machine and you can do it, I will accept under protest. Strong protest. Be an angry Hilarion.
Well,
But I will.
And Hilarion, I believe in this so much that I would want you to be sold on my method of stopping the drill.
Okay. We'll see when we get there.
okay.
All right.
Shadow-wise Xenon. Being shadow-wise.
Yes, very good. So what are you all
Good
going
RP,
to tell?
everyone. Good RP.
What are you guys going to tell Aradus? And you can see he's working and he's like directing, but you can see him kind of like stealing glances over at you all, waiting.
As soon as we are like obviously departing, he's like, which of them is coming towards me?
Yeah. Well, he doesn't wait that long. He heads over towards you, and he's like,
wow,
so what have you decided?
Xenon looks at Phaedros. It's Phaedros is the
Love
leader.
it. Love the. What have we decided?
Yeah, thanks a lot. That's great. Yeah, I'll say to Aradus, we need you to tell us what you can of this drill. We certainly don't want Kasibian to be, freeing Kronos. That's bad. Everyone agrees that's bad.
I think everybody would agree, except for Kasibios, that is pretty bad. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We are also not positive that it should be our move to be the ones to free Prometheus. So we would like to try to disable the drill before it reaches Tartarus, and then fix our ships, and what happens after that isn't ours to decide.
He kind of looks and thinks for a second, and he says, "Okay, if you can stop the drill, who knows what will become of it after that, I suppose."
Right, now that said, and arm around it, bring him in close. It will never go to Tartarus.
Of course. No, yeah.
Yeah.
If the Gates of Tartarus were to
Pat
be
him on the
destroyed,
back.
I mean, who knows what could happen? The shades in the underworld could come here, and the shades here wouldn't be able to find their way with no gate. I can't imagine what that type of world would be.
A world with the kids death smash. Yeah, that's.
There's no sun either. It'd be horrible.
You don't know what that would be like at all. No. God, if somebody was on some sort of great mythic quest and failed, I don't know what would happen. That's
yeah.
Lightning walls and ghosts and stuff. Yeah.
So who could imagine? But yeah, he kind of explains that he doesn't want to get in your way, and that he does, after they've started, does realize that these folks do need some help to build the things that he's asked onto your ship. They just don't have the know-how, so he's not going to come with you on this. Whereas he might have put those things to the side if there was the immediate promise of Prometheus being released.
Right.
But he will sort of give you all a map of the island, and point out that there is one particular chute that should get you pretty close to exactly where the workshop currently is. You'll still have to find a way to get through the obsidian shell, but it should get you pretty close, and you won't have to climb so far. He does warn you, though, that the mechanisms are still within that chute, but they can't overrun you like they can in open ground. So you should be able to make your way there that way.
Good.
And with that, he'll kind of send you on your way, and as you all are kind of walking, toward getting ready to leave, you can see that he kind of looks back at you a few times.
Well, he's definitely getting the stink eye from Hilarion.
Yeah. So yeah. What's next? Head into the drill?
I guess, right? Do we have anything else we can do?
Cool.
Knowing that every time we touch the spiders, they get smarter about us, I kind of don't want to do anything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I guess now the thing that you are doing is you are daring to descend into the superheated bore shaft of the drill, down to the workshop dome to confront its maker. This is a contest of blood and valor to make it there. And then we'll figure out what our battle is, right? But to make it there, it is a contest of blood and valor against, you guessed it, the mechanisms. And they get another D8. Which brings them up to a pool of 4. Yep. So strife level is still lowered though. So I mean, your maximum here is a 12, right? Just the way the math works in the game. So blood and valor against the mechanisms.
Well,
Scroll down here. 12. Yeah, there you go. Turns out adding all those dice does do something after all, doesn't it? All right. So, who will face this contest?
Hilarion will face this contest.
Of course, of course.
Xenon will assist Hilarion.
How
Hilarion
shadow-wise
assisted
of you.
me in the past, I believe.
Phaedros will face this contest.
All right.
Area will assist Phaedros.
Okay, great. All right then. You all may test your fates.
Hilarion, I'm going to give you a craft and reason, so a D8.
So a D8. Okay.
Resolve in spirit.
Also a D8.
Yep.
While y'all are doing that, I'm going to type in the other stuff I'm going to need.
Yeah, because you got stuff going on. I imagine that like we get to this, he knows about some trapdoor, right, on the maps, and this challenge takes place like once we're in those tunnels, right?
Yes, yeah. You guys, this is your basically. I should mention sort of what the stakes here are. This contest is to make your way into the workshop, and so that'll also include piercing the obsidian dome.
Oh wow, okay.
This is just just to kind of keep things simple. What do we got here so far? Ooh,
15
nice,
on
15 from
Phaedros.
Phaedros.
Remind me if we use a divine favor, it's a D12.
If you use a bond with a deity, it's a D12. Divine favor is a D4 that you add on to your total.
Yeah, there's a separate field for it.
Yeah, and with the divine favor, you just tell it you're spending 1 or 2 favors, and it adds that many D4s automatically.
Right.
Is that okay? How to use Roll20, folks.
How to use.
So yeah, I think while we're going down here, like Xenon is, has like some kind of torch, and keeps it covered when we need to be stealthy, and then uncovers it and it blooms back to life, kind of thing, and is trying to.
Nice, hilarious.
Dang guys, trying to get us down there.
Yeah, you guys
With
are
his assistance.
save some of that heat. Y'all gonna need it. All of those are D8s. Okay. I have one more person to put in, but okay. Well, let's go ahead. Let's get something happening while I type this in, because that's not very interesting streaming, is it? So we'll start with Phaedros. Recite your deeds. How do you sort of contribute to this journey to the center of the volcano? Through this, like, the sort of chute you're in is this sort of like metallic shaft. It was carved into the mountain and then sort of coated in metal. And you can see that there's actually like this little, almost like a conveyor belt that's like constantly running, that's sort of dumping scrap into the bore, like into this like sort of bore shaft. And you're not sure exactly what's happening to it after that at this point, but and you can see there are these spiders that as you sort of enter, this like kind of like boom, kind of like almost like alarm horn kind of sound starts going off, and there are just tons of these spiders crawling up the chute towards you all, but they don't seem to be coming from behind you. They're only coming from in front, so that gives you sort of a way forward. Or rather, you don't have to defend on all sides. You can just plow through and get there if you need to.
Okay. Yeah, I think part of this is just since I spent divine favor using the fortitude of Poseidon, just like this heat that's just pouring over it, and everybody's like hair all matted with sweat and just dripping everywhere. Just carrying on through that. Like, no, come on, keep going. We're on it. We can get there. And I think maybe there's a point in here where Like there's some of these kind of smaller chutes off to the sides that like maybe we're dumping in some of the scrap, and where some of the spiders might have been coming around from, kind of like, you know, as you were kind of coming up to one, it was here, so it wasn't like behind us or anything like that. But there might be a moment where like there's something coming through it, as like I imagine Hilarion's in front because he's the big guy. This is what he does. He prevailed, all that sort of stuff. And there's a moment where like there's one that like kind of like there's one of the spiders that starts to come out of those like side vent as he's starting to go past, and like kind of like crawling and like holding the spear and like kind of like bring it up and skewer it onto the side. And then it like there's like a string of mechanisms that run down the way, and like when one of those is like jammed, it knows to like stop some of those other things that would be otherwise dumping in scrap and providing more paths for things to be coming in on us.
Gotcha.
So it kind of clears up the way. It's like, oh, now you can use more of this conveyor belt, just as like trying to like the walkway at the airport, right? Like without as much debris in the way and without as many things kind of having up to try to defend ourselves.
Yeah. Excellent. And Hilarion, recite your deeds. How do you not only make sure that you all are able to make it through this sort of chute in one piece, how do you also shatter this obsidian dome that is surrounding the workshop?
Getting through the spiders is par for the course for Hilarion. This is what he was built for. There's a melee, there's a battle, there are clear bad guys. That's what he goes for. And he's got his friend Xenon here, who may not be the great hunter anymore, but that does not mean he gave up his eyes. And so he's pointing out, you know, on your left, on your right, because Hilarion's just swinging. He's probably also maybe keeping, you know, Phaedros and Makaria like back a little bit, like nope, you don't want to step there because that club's coming back around. I mean, it's a swing and a go. But Hilarion gets to that obsidian shell, and he calls upon some divine favor with Apollo to know where he should hit. And then he takes up that big club in two hands, you know, does the spit in one and the other, and gets it, winds up, and, you know, finds that one spot and just brings it down, cracks that sucker open.
Yeah. And you can see the sort of cracks start to like spider web out from this one spot where you hit until like the entire thing looks like you're about to dig into a nice bowl of ice cream through your caramel shell, basically. Like it is cracked. And eventually it shatters. And, you know, obsidian goes everywhere. It's like volcanic glass, right? And so it shatters much like glass. Shards go everywhere, probably wounding a few of you slightly. Like, you know, you have some like cuts and scrapes. And as you all land in this workshop, probably do the hero landing, like the 3-point landing. We'll bring it back around. Does the 3-point landing into the workshop, you can now see what it is. The ground is covered in obsidian, which is dangerous in its own right, but you all are heroes. Who's ever heard of getting an infected wound from stepping on broken glass?
And in all the pictures from this time, everybody's wearing sandals at best, so, you know, watch your step.
But you can see, now that you look around, this workshop is just filled with more and more of these strange machines. And you can see that standing in front of a workbench now, like turned that you are here, is Kasibios. And you can see that Kasibios himself is also partially mechanical. That parts of him have been replaced, and not even just like extremities, but you can see that there are like sort of bulky parts on like his back and his shoulder and like on his chest where he's maybe had to like replace some things that were of vital importance. But he turns and he sort of says, "What have you done? You've destroyed my dome. You can't interrupt this work. The controls aren't even here. What do you plan on doing?" is sort of like the thing that he kind of lays at you is just like, yes, you've shattered my dome, you've arrived in my workshop, but what's next, huh? This drill, we're nearly at Tartarus. You couldn't have shown up a day later. Like he just seems more put out than he does like angry, because he just feels like he's above this. You get the idea that his intellect, he feels as though it is so far beyond anyone else or even the gods themselves, and so he really just feels inconvenienced by this. But that now brings us to you. You have a little bit of time to talk to him.
Oh, great. Can I Louisville Slugger his face?
If you'd like to, I feel like that would be more
That
in the
begins the
realms of
contest.
that
Do we wanna
begins the
say
contest.
anything?
But if there's anything you'd like to say before we begin the contest,
Oh my gosh.
This is an abomination, and what you're trying to do is foul. It is so bad that words cannot even fathom how horrible the thing is that you are trying to do.
Your plan is bad and you should feel bad. Yes.
Yes.
Mike can't think of the great way to do it, but I would like to try to find out where the controls actually are.
yeah. I'm trying to think of how to do that. I feel like that's going to be part of the battle.
Okay.
Like I feel like once we've kind of set the stakes and figured out sort of what the thing is, if there are controls, that'll be something that you all can kind of speak into existence. But the thing that you know is that there is no way, looking around, there's no way to stop this drill from here.
Sure.
That you can see.
Hilaria doesn't know that.
Yeah.
Hilaria's still certain he breaks enough things here.
Right.
Right, yeah. Larry's looking around like there's a lot of stuff here that looks very breakable, and I'm sure something will stop this drill.
Something will stop.
I think Xenon
Yep.
is going to ask him, it's like, why this? Why this cause? Why this suicide mission?
Like destroy everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why free Kronos and destroy all that has been made?
You see him kind of like look at like, you know, parts of, like he kind of takes himself in, and he says the gods play games with us, and you all are, I'm sure, well aware of what that process is like. They make decisions, and we are to carry them out. And sometimes they decide to just take pretty close to everything that you have. You know, they come close, but they always want to leave you something, right? Otherwise, the sacrifices stop, and they can't have that, can they? And not only that, but how much do you know of Kronos? Do you know of what his fate was? He sits now in an uncountable number of pieces, held apart, kept apart to keep him from reforming. And pardon me if I'm strange, but I can sympathize with that. Having the gods rip you limb from limb and piece by piece. And I think maybe they should experience that as well, right? If they see it something worth sharing.
But Kronos would undo much more than the gods.
Collateral damage.
Yeah, Phaedros, or sorry, not Phaedros, God, Xenon begins to move.
Begins to move.
Whatever the plan is, Xenon begins that. It's like,
Mhm.
All right.
You're stupid and I don't like you. Hilaria.
yeah. It's like, cool. Sealed the fate. Good. That's what I needed.
Yeah.
That's what I needed. I feel good about killing you now.
Cool. Sweet. So I think that brings us to our clash. Where, you know, he is going to attack you, you're going to attack him, and whoever wins this is going to have some sort of advantage, right? This isn't the final battle. We don't know what the stakes are. We don't know any of that yet, but we just know that we don't like this guy and we'd like to punch him in the face. Is essentially what is now happening. So you will be facing off against Kasibios and his mechanisms. Yep, again.
So many mechanisms.
And I think all of Kasibios' little things will apply here.
That doesn't sound good.
Yeah, it doesn't, does it?
I don't like that.
Yeah. So the mechanisms are now up to 5d8, looks like. So Kasibios, he is brilliant, he is prideful, and he is ever reckless, making this contest not only perilous, but epic as well, as he is going to bring to bear the might of his intelligence against you all. To me, this seems like a contest of blood and valor. You're fighting him, right? If you would like to bring in other domains, you may do so. But let's go ahead and roll that strife up and see what we're working with here. Blood and
Did
valor.
everyone take their honor or their glory from last time?
I did.
Yeah. Everybody, make sure you're keeping up with your glory. But let's see here, and another 12.
So
And-
what does
and-
epic mean again?
Right.
Epic means that you have to mark a pathos to enter into the contest. And then
Perilous is if you fail, you'll lose another pathos.
Yeah. So there's
the
up
contest.
to two or more pathos on the line here, essentially. So who will face this contest?
Oh, Hilarion is facing this contest.
Gotta know why Xenon is facing this contest.
Mind and
Okay,
Makaria
yeah.
is taking it.
Phaedros will face this contest.
Excellent. All right, let's roll it up, and we're in that big bad battle
Goodbye.
time.
Goodbye, Pathos. Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah, hopefully you guys get a little bit of time in agony this island, so we can work towards that second boon.
Battle, clash, kind of thing, right?
Clash. Then we move into the threat phase, where there's the defend and the seize contest,
Right.
and then based on all of that, we figure out sort of what's happening, and what you all want the final stakes of this to be.
Oh, then I won't do that thing yet.
Right.
What's on the line here is a D10 advantage die for either Kasibios or you all. Someone is going to gain the advantage here. Okay, it looks like
Damn,
it's going to be you
Phaedros.
guys.
Damn, Phaedros.
Hey.
How? Wow. That was impressive.
Oh.
Oh no. All right, waiting on Hilarion.
I hit the button.
Oh, did it? It hasn't gone through, doesn't look like. I just see.
You sure it didn't go somewhere else?
No, well, I mean, I hit all the buttons and the box went away.
Give it another shot.
All right.
But sometimes if you click off, it hides behind your character sheet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I moved my character sheet. It's
Okay.
definitely.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. I already know how Xenon. Oh, this is gonna be good.
I'm excited. There we go. Great.
Look at y'all.
14.
This is good.
Good.
14,
All right.
14, 19. Oh man.
Let's start with Xenon.
Cool. So we had our moment of discussion, right? And when he said collateral damage, that was sealed the fates to him in Xenon's mind. And Xenon immediately threw his torch onto a table of like broken down like metal powder, and there's this huge flash that like erupts, and Xenon is gone. And there are these big deep shadows from all this lava and fire and shit and all this equipment, and Xenon charges where he's at from the shadows, and one of the spiders tackles Xenon and wrestles him to the ground. And Xenon is fighting with this spider, and is distracted by it while the group does their thing. But in doing so, has opened up a path
Right.
to him, as some of his centurions have been redirected to this hidden foe that leapt from the shadows.
All right. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. And yeah, so you are actually like almost dangling over the edge of this sort of deal. And I think we even get the like a couple times there's like a lava fall that kind of gets a little close and you gotta like roll to miss it kind of deal.
Yeah, and I'm like throwing one spider to it, and then there's another spider like crawling up me kind of thing. So it's like I'm killing things, but I'm stuck here.
So
hanging out, punching robot spiders in the face.
That's right. And I mark another pathos, right?
Yep.
Okay,
It was perilous because of the spiders, so you mark an additional.
Yeah, and just a heads up, part of all that stuff was the craft and reason to like make the big thing, right? And then the blood was mine.
The blood was mine. The valor, well, we'll find it.
Yeah, we'll find it later.
Excellent. So either Makaria or Hilarion.
I'm gonna go first, because Makaria is gonna do what I said earlier and literally just stand up, step up and hit him in the head as hard as she can with her staff, because
she went to the outfield first.
Yeah. And basically just she doesn't say anything, but with this strike, you can just feel her say heretic. And yeah.
And you actually hear like you hit a part of his head that looks like flesh, but as you hit it, you can hear a metallic clang.
Yeah, we're not.
Yeah, it is unclear how much of this man is a machine.
Yeah, that was all. That she just I accomplished that goal. That was all. David, you're talking, but you're muted.
Thank you. Yeah, certainly some like bits of metal and junk
just
comes
go
off of
places.
it. Yeah, because you hit him real hard.
Real hard. Yeah.
A lot of the like auxiliary stuff, because he's got like of course like tools and things built into all of this to help him in his work. Some of those things like fall off, and he tries to block another blow with like one of his arms, and it like crunches inward and bends a little bit. Yeah, he's looking a little rough. He's not really used to or made for the like physical altercations. Which that will bring us then to Hilarion.
Hilarion has taken one look at this guy and has gotten the gist of his friends and patriots that at the very least, this one thing they agree on, this guy is bad and he needs to die. So he feels confident that his friends are going to handle that part of the problem. So he's going to focus on breaking everything else. Any spiders, anything that looks like maybe it might move, anything that looks like it shouldn't move, but he thinks he might be able to make it move. He is a giant wrecking ball in this dude's room. And that's just, he is swinging for the stars.
Excellent. Yeah, and you wreck just a ton of stuff, and you can see that like steam starts sort of shooting out of several machines. It kind of bring about this like it's too hot for mist, but like this steam kind of hangs in the air as it's evaporating and kind of makes it a little more difficult to see at times. But that brings us to Phaedros. What is Phaedros doing?
Yes, Phaedros sees Makaria smack him in the face with the staff and have little bits go flying all over the place. This nice shot. Then he does like the Phaedros fighting thing where he's kind of like ducking and dodging and whipping around and doing circles with the spear and all that kind of stuff. And he gets into it with him, and they're up close and they're kind of going at it. Sorry, I'm making notes of being the cunning warrior of Nemos and having the divine precision of Artemis to call upon. He kind of spins around underneath the guy's guard and like catches him and like knocks him down and like sorry, I made myself notes for things to hit here. It's unclear how much of him is machine, but some part right up in here still makes a squishy noise when Phaedros spears him to the floor through it. Probably tells him, okay, you had your chance, now tell us where the controls are. And then I assume he probably tells us to like go to hell and like spits my face or something.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Okay. Then I'll just give that a good twist.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he kind of like winces a bit and he says, "Look, I'm too smart to have built something so simple to foil my plans. No, you're going to have to stop this thing. Tear it piece from piece if you wish, but it's almost there. Can't you hear it?" And as you kind of listen, you can hear that like the grinding that before had been strictly consistent, just going through stone and molten rock and things like that. Now you hear it get quieter, and there's this draft of air coming from beneath you all. Yeah, what are you doing with him?
Do we have a reason to keep him around?
I believe he can fly.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Believe he can drown in lava.
Yeah. I think you launch him off the side of this thing.
Oh yeah, you flip him off the spear into whatever lava flows nearby.
Yeah, and he
We're
actually goes
goleming this?
through
Yeah.
like he goes through one, and you lose sight of him as he's passed through this just torrent of molten rock. Yeah, which brings
that does
us
not buff out.
now to our threat phase. So a few things that happen there. Kasibios no longer has access to his workshop, which means that the mechanisms they're no longer endless, essentially, and that they can be defeated at this point. You've sort of unlocked their win condition here. You can shut down the machines.
Cool.
The other thing here is you have a D10 advantage die from winning the clash because you've sort of rendered, at the very least, Kasibios is no longer able to fight, if not has perished.
He wanted to reach Tartarus. Look what he did.
Yep.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so that brings us now to the threat phase. So, two things here. For our threats. First off is that all of this destruction of the mechanisms that kind of govern this drill and how it functions has sort of made it a bit unstable. And so tampering with the drill causes it to shear through the rock and bring down the mountain, killing the lost that are down below on the beach. And the other is, as the mountain falls, it cracks the Gates of Tartarus. It doesn't break them, but it will crack them, which will maybe down the road have an effect. Maybe that crack will widen and things of that nature. But those are sort of the things that you are defending against here. And then on the other side of that is the Seas contest. The primary enemy here is the mechanisms, of course, with Kasibios being indisposed. So the Seas contest, all of these contests will be against the mechanisms for this phase.
Crap.
So it's two contests against them. Isn't that fun?
That's not good.
But yeah, so this is the part where we decide we have two threats to foil, so that's, we'll need at least two people in the defend contest to take care of those, assuming you both prevail. And then we have the Seas contest, which will kind of determine how much say you get in what happens to this island.
Can you give me what the first threat was again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so the first threat is that the sort of tampering with the drill has caused it to make this entire mountain unstable, and it's going to collapse, killing the lost, probably not doing great things to your ships either that are pulled up onto the beach, but it is going to crumble on over the island and, presumably killing everyone.
I want to take up the challenge of the second threat.
The Gates of Tartarus. Okay.
We can defend.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
that's right.
on the success of the defend, pick which one we we did.
Yeah,
we did
for
not have
each
it.
for each hero that prevails, you pick one thing to stop from happening, basically.
That
Cool.
that way,
Okay.
if you fail, but say I succeed, we can still keep the gates from cracking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Or if nobody is, yeah, if only one person prevails, maybe you would rather save all those innocent people's lives than the Gates of Tartarus. It's like if you have that way, you can choose in the moment.
Don't assume for me.
I hear
And I'm sorry. What is the seas?
So the seize is basically just you are trying to seize control of the situation in one way or another, and sort of determine the stakes. So if you win the seize contest, you can say, "We are going to stop the drill. We're not going to break it. We want this to happen to Kasibios, whatever." Like you set the stakes, or you want this to this whatever you want to happen, basically. Whereas if you lose the seas, then I kind of get to decide the limit of what you can do. And may introduce like complications and things like that as well.
I think that Xenon pre-committed to going after the seas, so I think Xenon's going to go and try and seize control of the drill.
Okay, and one
Or
defend, one
mechanism.
seize. It's Hilarion and Phaedras do.
So wait, I
Kind of want to see is.
in the past, I thought we had the two options of the bad things that could happen, and then we handled those individually, and then all four of us went for the seas. Maybe I was wrong on that.
No, you have to split
there's
up.
a final. Then there's
Yeah.
like a final epic clash.
Yeah, the
Gotcha.
final battle's the one where everybody comes back together, but you have to split up whether you're defending or you're seizing.
Okay.
This is if the seas wins, we get to decide the scope of our win condition of like what's on the table for the final clash.
Yeah.
But right now we have to decide how many people are going to help keep the gates shut and save all those innocents' lives versus getting decision of like what all is at stake in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Hilarion will help defend.
Okay, so that's 2 defend, 2 seize. Perfect. All right. So we always start with the defend contest. Don't want to leave everything in suspense for too long, since all of these awful things have happened unless you stop them. I think you all get to decide sort of the domain of this defend contest, basically, for these, because there's nothing that I have to sort of determine that. So you all can sort of decide how you want to defend. But the defend contest happens all at once. So let me go ahead and roll for the mechanisms that are now at 6d8.
And that's Phaedros. Wait, who's doing the defend?
Us two.
You and Hilarion.
Oh, okay. I thought that. Sorry, mechanisms made me think that was the seas.
Yeah, well, it's all against the mechanisms. That's like
Or-
the only thing
I-
left here at this point.
Yeah, my brain was.
Cool. And that is perilous, like always, because of their sharp, spidery appendages. We're just going to go any domain here. Another 12. Turns out, when you throw that many d8s, eventually you roll an 8.
Yeah.
So that's what we're up against, and it is perilous. So if you suffer, not only will a bad thing come to pass, but you'll also have to mark pathos.
I should have said this before. What if we made it mythic?
Make it mythic then. If you make it mythic, then everybody who participates has to spend a divine favor, but whoever prevails gains a bond with that deity. So if that's what you want to do, that's what you do. Whose attention are you calling to this contest?
I was going to call in a god that is not someone that we can get favor with. So let me rethink that plan.
We can figure that out. That's fine. You just call in who you would like.
I have a bond with Persephone, so I was going to make it mythic for that and then use that bond.
Okay. Yeah. That works for me. And then if
The underline
because
would be
the
Demeter, but
You use your divine favor.
yeah, you spend your divine favor to do this. You'll get a bond, and you just write in those bonds. So it's not like we're gonna need to create a new spot to mark divine favor. You're just gonna get a bond. So if you prefer,
So-
anyway.
yeah, by making it mythic, I am going to use one of my divine favor of Demeter.
Okay.
I am going to call my bond with Persephone, if that's the way I want to word that.
Yeah, I think you just spend a divine favor when it's mythic anyway. You don't have to be like specific about which one you do. So I think that's totally fine.
Sweet.
Um,
And the
Yeah,
name
so-
die, it's D12, right?
yes, the name die for a god is a D12.
And this is any that we want it to be.
Yeah, any domain, however you're doing it. But you do have to spend a divine favor to participate. You should mark one off.
That's okay with everybody.
Well, this is just a defend contest. So the only person you got to convince is
Hilarion.
Hilarion, yeah.
Marion's usually okay with it being mythic.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right. Hilarion, what you got, bud?
Question on the great deeds and trophies. So if I click one of those, I get to add what?
You had a D10.
Okay.
Also, you all did win. Well, whoever was best. So Phaedros, you have a D10 advantage die from the clash. But yeah.
Okay, let's see here.
that bond die rolled a 2.
Damn. Yeah, I was really on the fence because I was like, Xenon kind of said he was going to do this, but I really wanted to do a defend. I wanted like 3 on defense, but I was like, Xenon already promised he would do this to like save everybody's situation. Oh my god, it's so stressful.
Okay. So, first of all, what is a Hilarion gonna stop from happening?
He's gonna stop it from cracking the Gates of Tartarus.
Okay. So the lost will be killed.
Fuck.
I also this is a crack. This is not breaking the gates. This is a small crack. Is like what I'm talking about here. It not a problem now, if that is what the impression is. But
Hilarion, a few people, a small price to pay to keep Tartarus completely locked.
fair.
I
All right.
might have thought there.
Great.
I mean, he is boulder like Hilarion. He likes boulders rolling down hills.
Can I spend a bond to change his mind?
Don't think that's how that works.
All right.
You're busy trying to seize. You don't know what's happening.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I just thought I'd ask the question.
Yeah. That's fun, isn't it?
I wanted like clockwork men with us.
Maybe some
And
of
give
them will live.
Hilarion the heebie-jeebies. He's completely.
Oh yeah.
Completely.
This is a win-win for Hilarion. It's like,
Yeah.
no. They all needed to.
It
die.
might wipe out that priest, and then he doesn't have to worry about Prometheus at all.
Oh my god.
All right. So we'll start with Iron Mighty Makaria. Remember to mark your pathos because it's.
I did.
yeah.
Oh, I need to mark 2 actually, because yeah.
What does it look like when you call Persephone's attention?
I think it's like pulling out from a different sack on her side, like a flower of Persephone. That is her flower. And kind of imbuing it with her words and hopes and thoughts and love for her mother and putting it on the ground to call her there. And I think what happens is that this place is so corrupt and so odd, yet so close to the Hades itself, that the flowers vines start to grow out, and instead of Persephone coming to help, it can be seen from the vines growing black and dark that the darker side of Persephone has decided not to interfere, even though her name has been called. Hades and her home will be protected without her daughter's help.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. And Boulder like Hilarion, how do you keep the mountain is falling, it's crumbling around you all. How do you keep it from reaching the gates of Tartarus? Oh, that's a good thing to mention. You can all see the gates of Tartarus. As this has continued, and the mountain begins to fall, you feel this rush of cold air that even turns a lot of the lava flows around you just into rock instantly. It's this ice cold air, and you look down and you can see that you have actually cracked through something, and that there is empty space below you. And you look down and you see these massive stone gates. There are like flames of different colors that kind of shine around them. And you can see that there is a line of what looks like perhaps shades waiting to sort of be sentenced and sent to Tartarus, because Tartarus isn't like where you go normally unless you really fuck up. And so there's like, typically that's where monsters go, right? But you see that there is a line of these dejected looking shades standing in front of these gates. And you can hear, as the drill gets closer, this enormous booming, and the gates kind of move towards you all as if something on the other side knows that its freedom is near. So Hilarion, what do you do? How do you stop these rocks that are falling towards the gates?
So it's a landslide of a mountain. I mean, it basically is things coming down, but he's not going to be able to stop every rock, and he's not going to be able to stop the whole mountainside. But there's one large shelf of stone that seems to be coming down, in one place, and he's not going to try to stop it. That would be foolish. But if he can slow that in, then maybe instead of coming down point wise like an arrowhead, it'll turn sideways and kind of form a dam of its own against this. So he calls upon his great deed as the defender of the divine, and he spins a bond with Ares, his father, to call upon that strength and that ferocity to do battle with a mountain. And it's a great feat of strength as he charges out there and grabs hold of this shelf of stone, and the slab, and turns it, straining to form sort of a natural shelf or dam to stop the worst of it from falling. Some things get through, but it blocks and creates kind of a blockage.
And you all can see, as Hilarion is doing this, you can see as like the it's almost like you almost can't see it, but there is this armor that's kind of surrounding Hilarion as he does this, and it is this gleaming, just battle-scarred armor that is kind of, as rocks are hitting Hilarion, they just bounce off, and it's like they don't even reach him. And that is the armor of Ares itself that has briefly encircled Hilarion to allow him to do this deed that must be done in defense of the gods. So everybody take your glory.
So does Hilarion get a deed with Persephone?
You actually do. You get a bond with Persephone. You have impressed her by protecting the gates to the worst place that she has in her backyard, essentially. So that you do see now far above you. You can see as the mountain is kind of collapsing outwards. and sort of tumbling down, down the almost like tumbling down itself down to the beach, and into the water. And you can hear the distant sound of screams, but you have no idea sort of what the extent of the destruction is from this far down. Okay, so that now brings us to the seas contest. Phaedros and Xena. Let me roll this up for you guys first, actually. This time with, I need to add a whole new thing. Learning machines for D8. As we are now up to 7d8 against these fellas.
That's ridiculous.
Yep.
Wait, I thought these things happened at the same time. So they wouldn't have gotten able to learn from our fight if this happened at the same time.
I think it says every single time there's a thing.
Every contest, yeah. It's not, so it's like every contest against them. So it doesn't, we don't concern ourselves. It's instantaneous transmission, so they're learning all at once.
There's one big robot hive mind.
AI.
Yeah, how about this? I won't
They got
raise
Wi-Fi.
I won't raise the strife level back to 5 now that all the people you saved are dead. So I'll be nice and leave it at 4 for you. How about that? And
that is
this
actually that is mechanically much nicer.
Yeah.
Because
then it goes up to a 13 is what they could roll. And that's
Right.
You don't want that. All right. Any domain? Okay, 11. Look at that. A little bit easier to seize control. Now that you all are here, and like looking around and trying to figure out how to seize control of the situation, you can see further in this cavern. You can see other gates. The one directly before you is Tartarus. It is foreboding. But there is actually another like gate far in the distance that looks like it just goes to perhaps to Elysium or the fields of Asphodel. Like you see that you are like in the antechamber of the underworld is where this drill has reached. So what are you going to do about that, I guess? You may now test your fate and we'll find out. Any bonds, any making things mythic?
Please no.
Please. Okay.
yeah, no. I think my intention is to make the last fight mythic.
Please no.
Okay. There's no mythic.
Somebody out of
Sorry.
divine favor?
Maybe.
Well, hey, if you're out of divine favor, you can always mark a fate.
Oh, really?
It gets me 1.1 spot closer to another dot. All right.
There you go.
I am not Pathos.
Gets a-
Fate.
No,
Right.
I didn't.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Isn't that fun? Right.
Okay.
Let's see.
This is perilous.
It is perilous.
It costs a pathos to even participate.
No, it costs to pay those if you suffer.
Okay. It's the epic that costs.
The epic, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so they kind of have like the
Yeah.
four modifiers kind of mirror each other a bit.
I was getting confused on. So yeah, thank you.
So, what are we trying to kind of grab hold of here? Are we trying to find
So
controls
the drill's still
again?
going.
Right.
What you're trying to, and this is something that you all can invent. I don't really have a lot of specific information on how you can stop this drill, but you're trying to seize control of the situation to open an opportunity to stop it because it is still going. And maybe that is just to break it. Maybe that's all that you find, but maybe you find something else. If you fail to seize, maybe I'll say that you have to break it. Kind of deal. So
Mhm.
you get to decide with the C's. So okay.
Sorry, it was 11.
Yep, target number 11.
I use my Finder of Secrets of Nemos
Ooh,
to understand the machinations at play here.
excellent. See if Phaedras gonna pull out another like 25.
No, I've spent all my good stuff for the night.
Oh,
Wait,
good.
don't you have your advantage die that you
There's
just?
the D10 advantage die. I'm not
But you
like,
might want
do we
to. You
want
might
to
want to save
do that now? Like, I feel like that's like
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
good
we
matter
plus
to
we
seize,
already
but-
know that Xenon has prevailed, so you don't have to
I hear
spend
you,
as much.
dude. I don't
True.
like.
Yeah.
There were times where I already knew that we'd prevail. And it's like my character would have already dropped shit
Yeah.
to make this happen. You know,
That's fair.
So,
That's
like,
fair. Yeah.
That's my
um,
mode. Is like, hey, I was going to spend resources, so I'm spending them.
Look, there's no like player guidance. This is don't be a
Right.
weasel. So this isn't
Don't
Blade,
be a
so you
Yeah.
weasel.
can.
Thank you, John Harper, for trusting us to know what a weasel
Yes.
Yes.
is.
They mean
So if we
just
spend a
very
bond
stinky.
to call on some, if we call on a bond to get the call on someone to bolster you,
You get their
what's
name die.
their name die? Okay. I may call on my bond with iron-minded Makaria to have had the smarts to kind of point towards, like, I'm used to a boat. There's masts, there's ropes. Makaria's a little smarter than that. She's like, no, if there was a mechanism, it would be in a
Mhm.
case like over there, right? Like,
Mhm.
so
Don't go too
So-
close to Elysium. All I'm saying, like, don't drink the water. Thing.
what was your what's your name die?
28.
Okay.
Yeah, I think everybody's up to an 8 now on the name die. Oof, a 10.
Close.
All right.
So close.
Oh my god.
So you have to mark a pathos because it was perilous against these
Yeah.
mechanisms. But what does Phaedras do?
Phaedros is sure that this dude had to be lying, right? It's a machine. There's mechanisms. I've never seen anything this complicated before, but like, you need to crank the winch to pull the ropes, sails up. There's going to be a way to break it. You can't just like, no, you can't break it. The winch isn't even on my boat, right? There's something here. And I think Phaedros is just like going anywhere else that Hilarion had not already torn apart, trying to find something that is like, there's a big cabinet there that's made of metal with like a latched door. It's like, pry that open. Why is this laundry in here? Right. And like just over here and like just trying to find any mechanism that is like going to be like, no, somewhere there's going to be like, here's where you tie it off. Here's where you pull the emergency brake and just no.
Yeah,
No.
and I think the perilous part of this is that as you're sort of exploring, you explore over near the edge, and as you do, this scorching hot metal hand grabs onto your
Oh.
leg, and you can see that now all of the flesh that was on Kasibios's body has been burned away, and this like Terminator-esque looking like metallic body is like pulling itself up, and it's like broken in parts from your fight earlier, but this thing pulls itself up on, and you hear like Kasibios's voice, but now with like this very like tinny quality to it.
Back. Yeah. That's,
It's like, you won't stop me kind of deal. And so yeah, that's my little feel free to kick him right back off since you prevailed and are now setting the stakes, but I wanted to, I'm not going to let my Terminator man go away without being seen.
Okay, cool.
oh, because do we want him in the last challenge, or because like do we like just like throw the like weird quip in his face now and like you wanted to see Tartarus, here you go. Like,
yeah, like that's the question, and in your description, Xenon, you can kind of describe how that happens, because maybe that's part of seizing control, is just getting rid of him for once and for all.
Right.
But I don't want to add that many dice and epic to the finale when you successfully seized. I just wanted to throw that in for like narrative interest.
Sure, yeah. So I think that Xenon and Phaedros, when this moment started, Xenon has been fighting these damned machinations this entire time, has finally figured out how to like start throwing them off balance, and that allows him to get up from his perilous position earlier, right?
Yeah.
And Phaedros and Xenon like make eye contact and both split to check different parts of this drill and all of the machinations underneath, and are shouting at each other, nope, nope, Nope. Yep. Nope. Just trying to figure out where the stuff is. And Xenon happens across a room where there are these like many tubes moving steam and hot air, and there are these valves that you can these like big big levers you can pull to open and close different gates. There is no labeling in here, but this is the control center for the drill. And Xenon, looking at this, starts to kind of look at where the pipes are going and how they fan out in different directions, and how they're using water from the island to create steam with the heat from the lava, and how this whole thing is really depends on its own environment to exist. And hears and has these like starting to like think about, okay, maybe if I move this, move that. And Phaedros says he's back. And there's all these like maybe like a communication tubes or something coming in, so I can kind of hear where it is. And Xenon just like, with the instincts that guided him through Nemos, he surveys these valves and just closes one of them as the whole drill begins to rotate on the deck level, and the drill bit itself begins to slow. But the deck level is taking that rotation energy and scrapes him off the side of the drill. Scrapes our bad guy here. Kasibios, yeah. Scrapes Kasibios off like just grinds him into the wall as like parts and sparks just and the drill still is slowing, and the top deck is still rotating very slowly.
Gotcha. Yeah, and as Kasibios is being like ground down by the walls of this, you can see that sort of at the center of this like automaton body, that now like you can see that the two legs that he was walking on, those have both split into four and made this like spider kind of lower half going on. And you can see that at the center of this is a small glass sphere. And you can actually see the face of Kasibios inside the sphere for a moment, like screaming at you as this body is kind of working on its own. But as it's ground down, that sphere like cracks, and then you can see as the spectral form of Kasibios is launched away from this hull, one might call it, that he was using. And you can see that as it falls towards the underworld, which is sort of where it's on its way, that this enormous three-headed dog leaps into the air and grabs his spirit out of the sky. And yeah, there's Cerberus for you. But yeah, and that is the last you see of Kasibios as his shade is devoured by Cerberus.
There's just a small, just like, bye puppy, just like it's almost childlike in the way that it's said, just oddly, just weird, but
yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is your successful seize. Kasibios is dealt with permanently. You've found sort of the controls for this thing. What are the stakes here, and what is the domain of this final confrontation? It's to me it seems a bit like craft and reason to turn this thing off, since you're trying to do it in that way. But if you have any other ideas, I'm a
dude. All right, hey Phaedros, this is you're leading here, but like meta knowledge, we already know they're all dead on the surface. So like, if this drill continues to exist, it doesn't matter, because the guy who wanted to free the dude is dead.
Yeah. I think there's also been enough chaos that's gone on around everything down here that like the idea that like, oh yeah, no, we're just going to switch it off. Like, it doesn't feel like it's on the table anymore. I think we've gone a little far for like, oh no, sorry, here's the switch. Like, No, this is
Yeah, I thought it was a big hand drill, and you just like hit the little thing, and it stops, and you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna put it somewhere else." No,
Yeah.
it's a giant divine crawler.
yeah. No, I think this thing getting destroyed is in the mix here.
Okay.
Is there anything else that we can throw in the mix?
So yeah, let me introduce sort of one other aspect now that it sounds like, you know, destroying the thing is the name of the game. You can see that from sort of behind one of these big like structures on the surface of this workshop. You can see as Aradus steps out. And his eyes are wild, and he looks injured, but he looks determined. And he says, "You can't stop this. I will free Prometheus. You will not break this drill. Take that from me." And he seems to have entered the fray, which adds his few dice to that as well. But
Hilarion, we have a friend for you.
Makes sense. Does make sense.
yeah, but you can see that Aradus is not a T-800 Terminator or whatever. He's just a regular looking guy. He bleeds. But yeah, so we need to name now the sort of domain of this. What's our approach?
So we gotta stop the thing and we gotta defeat this guy. But it sounds like craft and reason to like stop.
It's gonna be one contest. It's just what are the stakes here?
Hilarion is perfectly happy to assist somebody and assist them by beating the crap out of the old man. If that makes sense, so that it stays crafted reason and he can provide somebody with blood and power.
So I think actually since Xenon was the one who prevailed, this is actually not the leader's decision at this point. This is Xenon's.
Oh.
So what does Xenon want to do?
Oh man. And this is for all the marbles. This is like
This is for all the marbles. This is a finale contest.
Yeah, okay. Like I'd really like our ships to have been upgraded. It would suck to have gone through the first two trials and for that to not something down on the table.
I have in my head sort of what happened there. And,
Okay.
you know, as far as like your ships and things like that.
Okay.
So that's fine. But the thing is like what's gonna happen to the drill? What's gonna happen to Aradus? You know, what's the stakes there? What is your best case scenario for what happens on this island?
Man. Gosh, earlier in my head, this was going to be a lot harder for him to achieve. And him coming in all hard like that, that makes me not want to go in this direction. I still want. I guess Xenon's instinct would be to break the drill at this point. And not hand controls over to looking
Aradus.
at my notes. Aradus.
Yeah, because you can see now, like where before Aradus seemed very, you know, jovial and kind and reasonable. Like this is a different side.
Right.
There is a wildness in his eyes that you didn't see before. Like this is he's desperate now, and he is also seems to be extremely upset that Kasibios has been killed.
Oh shit.
Because they were partners.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Cool. Does anybody else, Phaedros, do you have input on this?
Drill destroyed. I don't see talking Aradus down here.
Okay.
It seems like he's going kind of wild over what he wants to have happen, and the trauma of like his friend getting axed in
partner.
the middle of all this kind of thing. Yeah. I kind of feel like we gotta liquidate Aradus as well.
Liquidate.
All right, so
That's a
yeah,
term.
I think that then the stakes are the drill is broken, and Aradus is defeated. Maybe not dead.
Okay.
But
We
Yeah.
can decide. We can say those details,
Yeah.
but I think that defeats good enough for me. So, what is our domain?
I want to use craft and reason because
Okay.
that's what I'm good at.
Then that's what it is. That's the way this works. Craft and reason. I have my fistful of d8s. No surprise, we got a 12. Let me.
And I would very much like to make this mythic
Okay.
with. Oh man, we're doing what Zeus wants, so I kind of want to call Zeus. Well, Zeus is already maybe paying attention to this,
Yeah, but then you're not necessarily going to get a bond with Zeus,
right? And a bond with
Just
Zeus
'cause-
sounds pretty badass.
or pretty lame. It's a d12. It has a 1 on it.
Yeah, it's true.
Got a
That's true.
3. Got a 3 on mine.
That's true. Yeah, right. So yeah, I think Shadow Wise Xenon is going to call upon Zeus and say, your rage has I guess how would Xenon say this? Xenon would say, challenges to your authority in this land will cease in this moment. What does that mean for you?
Yeah. And as you kind of speak these words, you can see that the lightning now has found a way to strike even this far below ground.
Wow.
And that is your sign that like Zeus is listening, and it hits like the sort of edge of this platform, and you can see as like the lightning is crackling around the entirety of this platform and continues to do so.
Sweet.
And it's like arcing between like it's yeah. Hey, lightning wall. How many Blades
Weird.
references in
What?
just this one island?
This one
This
island
isn't
is
even
so
Poor
like-
Mike. I'm gonna spend like an hour after this explaining to Mike like all of the Blades of the Dark in
Yes.
stuff that we're talking about.
There's
Yeah,
so
this
much.
this isn't even the Easter egg island. This is just I don't know. It just felt like it, I guess. Here we are.
Yep.
So yeah, our target number here is 12, which is not that surprising. I rolled 11 d8s and 1 d6, so it was not surprising that we ended up with that 12 again. But
He was bringing the D6. The guy was bringing the D6.
yeah, well, he brought 3 d8s and a d6.
Oh wow. Okay, fair enough.
Wait,
And then
I'm confused.
There
So
were
it's-
8 d8s from the mechanisms. So yeah,
But why is it 12?
because the strife level is 4 on the island. So for me, I keep the highest die rolled and then add
Oh,
the
okay.
strife level.
Okay.
Whereas you
So
guys
it
take the 2
says-
highest and add them.
It says perilous. Is it mythic too?
It is now mythic. Yeah,
I
That was-
called
okay.
Mythic after he had already.
I need to
Okay,
wait
okay.
to roll these things or I need to ask first. That's my
because
fault.
I think we're supposed to tell you we want it Mythic before we get to see the number,
Yeah.
which makes sense,
Yeah.
right? I wanted it Mythic anyways because I knew I wanted to turn the last contest into Mythic, but
So yeah, anyone who enters this contest has to mark a divine favor, and if you do not have a divine favor to mark, you may mark a fate, even if you are not yet in agony.
If you
can-
mark a fate, do you have to mark to agony or just
No.
the fate
No,
itself?
you just
Okay.
mark the fate. Yep. But you can avoid that by not participating in the contest and supporting someone instead, if that is something you're wanting to avoid.
Pass on the chance on all that glory. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm taking on this challenge.
Excellent.
Phaedras will take on this challenge.
Hilarion has been in every single fight so far, so
Yes.
I think he's gonna let some glory go to somebody else on this one.
How humble.
Yeah. Well, really, he just wants to go punch the old guy. And
You're like, I just want to guarantee they get to punch the guy.
That's his blood and valor. Right
Yeah.
there.
He's gonna go punch this old guy. I guess. Let's see. Who do we need a bond with? We'll do a bond with Xenon. We will aid Xenon.
All right.
And you are giving me
A D8.
1d8. Okay.
Ethan, do the great deeds and trophies ever come back?
You can do a contest to get them back. Basically, like, say you're on another island and you just happen to be at dinner. You can, depending on what it is, right? You just make it work. But the example they give is like, oh, so and so was the champion of Nemos, but they used that already. So later they're at a banquet and they tell of their great battle against the champion of Nemos and how they took the title, and then they uncheck that box because they get it back. So that's sort of the deal, is you have to do something to get it back. If it's like a special reward that there's only like one of, like say the elixir of immortality, like that's something that you can't really
do, yeah.
get back.
No, I'm thinking of like the purifier and the Song of the Harpies.
Yeah,
like,
then that
being
would
able
just
to
be
get those back.
something. That would just be something that you would have to like retell that story to bring it back to people's minds.
And I apologize. It's a 1d
10
10
for those, yeah.
And I think I would like to call upon my bond with Hilarion as well for your name die. What is Hilarion's name die?
I thought he already gave.
D8.
Oh,
So he gave me his blood and valor, which is a D8, and now I want to take his name as well. Is it a D8?
Just
I think so,
using me all over,
I
man.
am.
God.
You're giving me some
they're
help. I
both
want all the
D8.
help. Was it?
Yeah, D8.
Both D8.
Yeah, I think everybody's at a D8 now for name.
Okay.
just a heads up. I went into agony.
Gotcha. So when you go into agony, you mark a fate.
Yep, I'm 3 fade in.
Is it when you hit 5 you mark agony, or if you cross 5?
You hit 5, you mark
Hey,
agony,
cool.
and you mark
Agony, and you
fate.
go into fate.
And when you get to the end of your fate track, you finish your journey, whatever that means. All right, do we have everybody's rolls?
Yeah,
Looks
everybody's
like it.
rolls.
Excellent. So starting with Xenon with a 13, you prevail.
Yeah, I think that Xenon is still in these controls and has all the time in the world because he calls on Hilarion. Hilarion! Stop him at all costs. And Hilarion's like, I'm already on it!
No problem.
As Xenon begins to destroy this machine from the control room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Pinching valves and all that kind of stuff, just make it so that it can't be controlled. It can't function anymore.
Excellent. Yeah. And you can feel it start to shake and become less and less stable as you do this. All right. That brings us to Phaedros. You prevail as well.
Yeah. Luckily for change. Yes, Phaedros spending the advantage die. Phaedros shifts his vision. We're here like outside the gates of Tartarus. There's all the ghosts of the shades of the dead people from the dead lost. That he is able to like kind of see them kind of crowding around and like hear their whispers of like what they know of Kasibios's, how he thought about things and how Aradus thinks about things, and like, we on the left side kind of things, though not fighting, so that's not a great example.
Yeah, I think
called on his off spirit. So
I think what is kind of happening here is there is this like multicolored, almost like a tornado around you all of shades. Some are coming from above and some are coming from below. And they are whispering things into your ear. Some of them are even whispering like Kasibios' secrets. Because now that his shade has made its way to the underworld, that knowledge is now dispersed amongst the shades, and at least
wow.
that's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah. And I think that's how Phaedros finds something that he can be like, over here, there's a rug, and underneath the rug, that's where there was a switch, right? Like
Yeah.
before, I couldn't find a damn thing. And now, no, there is a way to try to deal with this. And this will start to shear parts off of the whole mechanism.
Yeah. Excellent. And that brings us to Iron-Minded Makaria.
Makaria begins to sing a song familiar to everyone here, reminiscent of the song of the harpies, and she does this so she can pull on the power of Zeus, directing his lightning bolts, like with just like her hands, like magic being cast from her but coming from Zeus himself, onto parts of this machination, of this machine, and blowing chunks in it, being careful not to hit Xenon, but deliberate direct strikes on certain parts to just destroy and lay waste to this machine.
Yeah. And as this lightning gets called down, you can see as one final bolt, kind of brighter than the rest, strikes directly through the center of this drill. And you can actually see through the center of it now as the sort of sharp tip of this that was coated in some material that's unfamiliar to you all. It's this bright, shining metal. It actually shatters. And so the sort of drill tip that could pierce these things is now gone. And it sort of stops. The drill kind of comes to a halt, and is now just suspended by whatever was suspending it in this sort of shaft, whatever was keeping it anchored. Even though all of those things were damaged when the mountain, enough of the infrastructures remained to keep this drill from falling directly into the underworld. And it comes to a halt. And you all have proven victorious. You all receive a bond with Zeus. Everyone who participated in the contest, because you all prevailed. Yeah. And I think you all are able... well, first, what happens to Aradus? We'll revisit this next week with the fate of the island, but just in general.
Oh, I toss his ass off into the lava.
I think
He got picked
Makaria
up
gets
and
to actually
thrown.
decide that, though, right? Because she's the one who was best.
Oh, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
She's busy, and Hilarion can do whatever Hilarion wants. She's not.
She's
got stuff going on. She is using Zeus's lightning bolts. She's a bit busy.
Yep.
Hilarion gets a hold of the guy and like looks around and is like, looks, he's busy, she's busy. Sucks to be you.
Yeah, and Aradus doesn't really make a sound as he falls. You can see that as he sees himself defeated, that sort of wildness in his eyes goes away, and before you throw him, he just kind of nods at you, like he understands, and plummets into the underworld. All right.
About that hits weird. That hits weird, real weird.
Yeah. But yeah, you all climb your way back out. Yeah, unless you have something to do before then.
Well, Makaria would like to stay down here because you said this was like the openings to like Asphodel and Elysium and the other areas. I don't think she wants to she'll suggest that the guys leave, but I don't think she wants to leave this area quite yet.
Yeah. Yeah, we find Makaria there on the drill alone.
Yeah, she just wants to meditate and be close to this.
Yeah. Is there anything particular you're after? Are you calling out to anyone in particular? Or?
I mean, it would be only to speak with Persephone or Hades himself. It's a feeling of being probably the closest to home, this ethereal home that she's had in many, many years.
Yeah. I think you just kind of sit down on the edge
Mhm.
of this platform, kind of dangle your feet a bit and just kind of look at this sort of vista that you have in front of you of all these different pathways that lead to the different, parts of the underworld. And in the very, very far distance, it's not very clear down here. There's mist and things like that in this sort of cold underground cavern. But in the very far distance, you can just barely make out the outline of a palace. A grand palace of black marble with these carved columns. And I think you see something, you can't quite make out fine details, but you see that there is a spot of white, perhaps? Something that stands out on the steps of this palace. And you kind of feel it more than see it. That is your mother standing there. And that she's seen what you've done. And you feel like she's proud.
Makaria just sits and appreciates that for our time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think, even though you're not nearly close enough to see, the eyes or the face, but you know that she's looking at you and that you all share that bit of eye contact for a time.
That warms her heart.
Yeah. But eventually you join the rest on the surface.
I will have to go.
Yeah. And as you all make your way out of this tunnel, it wasn't as far of a climb as you thought because the mountain's gone. It's a pile of rubble.
Weird thought.
Now. But you reach the surface and you can see that your heart sinks because you see broken masts sticking up out of the rubble. You can see sort of mechanical body parts and things like that strewn about as the collapse of this mountain. The cost was great. But then you take a moment to count the masts, and you only see 3. And as you sort of lift your eyes to the horizon, you can see that sailing at a safe distance, not close enough to the shore to be affected, is the rogue wave. And standing on it, you can see from here just the dim glimmer of a clockwork eye. And sort of a ragged countenance that sort of waves to some others on deck, and you can see that it's a mixture. Not all of your crew made it onto the ship, but not all of the lost did either. And so this new kind of hybrid crew is sort of, they all are gathering on the side of the ship and waving to you, and now turning the ship to come into what remain basically the splinters of a pier. You all will probably have to do a little bit of swimming to get to the ship, but
Take that, Hilarion.
But
You still
a
have to-
handful,
You still have to
of
sail
these.
with augmented humans. I can't
Old
wait.
creepy eye's gonna be stuck there. I can't even put him on the other ship.
Yep.
That's right.
Always
We're
be
all in
looking
one
at me
boat
with
now. We
creepy
lost one.
eye.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I think that's where we'll leave it. And we will pick up next time with our voyage phase again. Probably do another long one. Because I like that. I like that format. We'll see. We'll see him digging a little deeper.
Yeah, that felt good to
Yeah, it was cool.
take some time to between missions to figure our stuff out. Because
Yep.
I don't know enough about Xenon yet to be making these kinds of big judgment calls of do we help humanity versus helping the gods, who by the way have keeping us under their thumb. But I'm a child of God, so I gotta rep the parent.
Right.
Player is let's help the humans. But my character was obviously born of a god, so probably on the side of helping the gods out.
Yeah,
but it's tough.
It's tough.
Monologue.
It's tough, and there's some real doozies of decisions in the Highlands in this game. There's some rough ones.
Yeah.
Just oh no. But yeah, that's where we'll leave it then.
That's good.
we'll jump back in next week with another nice chill voyage phase. Not necessarily, maybe even a beach episode. I don't know. That's kind of up to you guys.
But this beach, please no.
Well, okay, it's in the voyage phase. Maybe you have a fun sandcastle building competition for your leadership contest. That's totally up to you guys,
Can
right?
we
Like,
please?
if you
Please?
want it
This
to
one
be a
doesn't
beach
have the
contest,
like. This
Yeah.
one doesn't have the like Hawaiian black sand from the volcanoes.
oh yeah, that's true.
Just real quick, Theo Bucket in chat, dude, thanks a ton for stopping by. If this is interesting to you, I hope to see you next Saturday. I love
Yeah.
seeing that interaction.
Great.
So yeah, dude, this was great. This was a fun little island. I can definitely
Yeah.
see how this could have gone real bad. Real
This
stupid.
is also the
worse.
first time you
Like-
haven't defended from everything. So this is also the first time seeing those like big consequences.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It really makes me think like, man, I don't know, like putting 3 on defend might be kind of worth it. Because that's a lot of people that just died because we failed that one roll.
Yeah.
You
And a
know?
lot of them like were your crew that you've been traveling with up until now. Like you guys lost a solid like 3/4 of your crew just on this island.
Yeah.
Between the harpoons and the, defense, like that's not insignificant.
Yeah.
You know,
And
they don't have
people
names
boats.
per se, in our game, but they exist.
Yeah, there are
know.
people we know and spent a great deal of time with and struggled
Mhm.
with. And some of them maybe are lovers and whatever, right?
Yeah. I think I'm gonna add something to the voyage phase. I'm gonna have you guys like pick a crew member that's dead to like give a eulogy for. So I'll give you a warning on that one to prepare it.
Yeah.
Create your own dead crew member.
The one your
Wow.
character cared about.
The one your character cared about the most. Yeah, I think so.
Right. Right. Yeah. What did your character lose in that one? That's good. That's gonna be nice. And then, what about oh gosh, like because they were part human, I'm really curious like how Hephaestus feels about all this because I feel like we kind of spat in his face here, but also like I don't know. That's wild. I don't know enough about Hephaestus really to like
Yeah.
know what
I'm
that guy would think.
I'm happy to have a week to mull it over.
Sure. Yeah.
And
Right.
figure
right.
out
That makes
what
sense.
goes on
That makes
here.
sense.
Also, I can tell you now that if you guys have free Prometheus, all 3 of those wrath get immediately checked for Zeus. Like,
Right.
I
full out.
imagine.
Yeah.
And that's one
Yeah.
that one wouldn't go down with time. I don't think.
No.
I think that's permanent.
No, yeah, Zeus is like he's as bad as Hera about holding a grudge. Like
Of all the gods, I think the most fickle and the most difficult to deal with is Zeus. Like,
Yeah.
period. He's got the worst track record, I think. Got like 5 billion kids. He just does whatever he wants. Throws a tantrum when he doesn't get his way.
But like so specifically, Prometheus was like punished
That's the
by
big
him
one.
specifically with this thing. Like,
right.
Yeah, and that was kind of like that was one of like Zeus's first like acts and judgments as like head of Olympus. Because that was like
Yeah.
right
Mhm.
after the Titan War.
Wild.
So that would be real bad for you guys. But
And Kronos is a Titan,
Yep.
right?
Kronos is a Titan.
Yes.
Kronos is the father of Zeus.
There it is. Okay.
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. And-
Technically, your grandfather.
Sweet. Yeah.
Mhm.
Granddad was a son of a bitch. And-
Yeah,
Yeah,
he like ate all
he-
his kids.
Yeah,
You
he
know,
ate all the kids.
granddad, just like my granddad, he said some stuff that I'm not proud of. All right. And
He's, he had some real hard opinions about some stuff, and I just don't. Oh man. But yeah, that's
That was great, Ethan.
Yeah.
thanks for
Yeah,
playing,
that was
guys.
a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun.
Thanks for running.
It was nice to branch out. I've only done starter islands before, so it was fun to
Oh.
like get into some of the bigger ones and like see how it works. Yeah, I'm really happy with how this one turned out.
Yeah, this
Don't
one
forget to
was
set
nice.
the rest of your islands up.
Yeah, well, at least the next one.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's really coming along now that like that's the other thing that I find it takes me a minute to figure out a system. And tonight was the first time where I was like, oh, I think I got this figured out.
Mhm.
To like
Mhm.
strategically support during some deals and then like try and win on others, like now it's starting to click. So this has been
Yeah.
fun good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Awesome. Well, folks at home, thanks a ton for tuning in. This has been awesome. Glad to see some new voices in chat here. We are gonna jump over and raid some people because I love raiding. Oh, Cyberwolf is running, doing Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
Is he still doing it? Is it still going strong?
For about 9 more minutes.
Oh,
yeah,
9 more
yeah,
minutes.
it's
That's-
winding
that's-
down.
That's tough. I don't wanna like make him feel like he has to do something with us. How about So For Sales?
Yeah.
She's
She's
doing
playing
Dishonored.
Dishonored.
And she, let's see, is she
Dishonored.
still?
Love that. It's got those good blades. Or it's very similar to Blades a little bit in
Yeah,
like some
right.
of the lore. I love that. I love that series. It's very good.
Yeah, it looks like she's in the middle of doing stuff. So she's probably sticking around for a little bit longer, right?
Yeah, she's on the West Coast, so yeah.
Oh,
Probably.
yeah. Yeah, she'll be playing forever. Okay, so folks,
Mhm.
we're gonna go head over to Show First Sales. She's a friend of ours, friend of Katrina's, really.
Yeah, good friend of mine.
And we like her by extension. And she plays fun games. And so yeah, let's go over and check out Dishonored again. Jagos, thanks a ton for all the clips, man.
Yeah, Jagos, thanks.
Like that is you're doing the work of
Just pick one. There's
Apollo.
12. Yeah.
Getting that knowledge out there, or maybe Hecate with the insights. I don't know, but it's I'm loving it. Okay, so folks, we're gonna head over here and see y'all Monday for Shadowrun.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And Wednesday for Brindlewood Bay. I always want to say Murder Mavens, but it's not Murder Mavens, Brindlewood Bay. That's why I pause whenever I say what we're playing on Wednesday. It's not about it's named the PlayStation.
Playing as the Murder Maiden.
Right, yeah,
But
exactly.
the game is named for Brindlewood Bay.
Exactly. Yep. Okay, cool. So folks, we will see you Monday and Wednesday and Saturday again. Right? And so yeah, we'll see y'all soon. As always, have fun and play well.
May all your rolls be crits.